Chapter 2838. Qin Yun and Yuluan Hui also understood why Yu Qi didn't change his bloodstained clothes, because he's going to fight at any time. Seniors are really busy. It seems like they really want to protect Divine Desolate. Yuluan Hui sighed. Great Divine King and those guys from Heavenly Court don't really want to protect Divine Desolate. Qin Yun nodded and said, not only do we have to guard against foreign beings, we also have to guard against Heavenly Court. I heard Senior Yu Qi say that heaven-opening ancient race wants to take over Heavenly Court, but they only have this idea. Yuluan Hui lit a cigarette and looked outside with melancholy. His current divine cosmos power was very low. Although he could improve very quickly after entering the first tier of the divine cosmos realm, after taking some medicinal pills, he was still very weak when facing foreign life forms. He also doesn't know when he will be forcefully sent to fight in Nine Sun Holy Land. Just thinking about it makes him feel great pressure. Nine Sun Holy Land is full of danger. Everyone knows that even people with divine cosmos power over 1,000 can be killed inside. Thinking about this, Yuluan Hui can only keep smoking and use the happiness brought by the smoke to drown his worries. Qin Yun is not afraid because his divine cosmos power is already 300. If he enters first level of divine space realm, his divine cosmos power will increase by a lot. Moreover, his divine space golden tendons have been cultivated very well. After eating Dragon Peach King pill, it became even thicker. Yuluan Hui, when will the assessment begin? What is the process? Qin Yun asked. The Imperial Heaven Gate is not finished yet, but it will soon accept applications. At this stage, we are only accepting applications by invitation. Our you ancient races people are inviting others to sign up. In 3 days, you will be the first batch to sign up, and you will be able to participate in the assessment. Yuluan Hui said. Qin Yun thought of Ling Taiyun. He feels that Ling Taiyun is only signing up and not a true Imperial Heaven Gate disciple. Boss, I want to change my body and make myself look younger. I will follow you from now on. Yuluan Hui said with mischievous smile. All right, when the assessment begins, inform me and bring me there, Qin Yun said with smile. Yuluan Hui brought Qin Yun away from Yu Qi's residence and arrived at the outermost area of the Imperial Heaven Gate. This area was the residence of the people who had signed up for the tournament. It was in the outer area of the east. The central area of the Imperial Heaven Gate was surrounded by a barrier formed by array pillars. It was a very core area, and Yu Qi lived in this area. Only by becoming an official disciple and possessing sufficient strength could one enter the inner area. After Yuluan Hui brought Qin Yun here, he hurriedly left. He is an official disciple. He also has a residence in the inner region, but he only has one room, so he cannot let Qin Yun stay. Naturally, Qin Yun can also continue staying in Yu Qi's mansion. He is afraid that it will be inconvenient to stay there, so he came out. In his room, Qin Yun used the magic mirror to contact Xiao Yuelon. Yuelon, how are you doing with the Xiao ancient clan? They won't bully you, right? Asked Qin Yun. I'm doing very well. I'm eating and drinking well. I am now with an old granny. She is Granny Taiyue's good sister. She loves me like a granddaughter. When Yueme comes, she will also love Yueme. Xiao Yuelon said with smile. Xiao Yun, why don't you also come to Xiao ancient clan? Qin Yun has already arrived at the Imperial Heaven sect. Moreover, Yu ancient clan is even stronger, so he doesn't plan to leave. I am at the Imperial Heaven sect, just outside the Nine Sun Holy Ground. Qin Yun said, Yuelon, is the Xiao ancient clan sect not done yet? It is being built. It is also outside the Nine Sun Holy Ground. I heard Granny say that all the heaven-opening ancient clan will guard different areas of the Nine Sun Holy Ground. When their sect is finished, I will also go outside the Nine Sun Holy Ground. Xiao Yuelon said. Then when the time comes, we will enter the Nine Sun Holy Ground and kill the enemies together. Qin Yun said with smile. All right, you must quickly become stronger. Xiao Yuelon said with charming smile. Wait until we meet next time. You will know how powerful your little husband is. Qin Yun proudly laughed. Don't be complacent. My progress is also very fast. Enough talk. I will go cultivate. Xiao Yuelon also wants to become stronger, so she no longer said anything to Qin Yun. Qin Yun contacted the Divine Judge and learned that he has already contacted many ancestors of the Heaven-Opening Ancient Clan and obtained their support. The Heaven-Opening Ancient Clan will send people to the Myriad Realms Divine Court to pass down some cultivation techniques. Furthermore, their sects will also accept the gods of the Myriad Realms Divine Court. For example, Xia Wufeng went to the Heavenly Qin sect of the Qin Ancient Clan. It is said that the Heavenly Qin sect has very strong sword cultivators. That is why he went. Qin Yun contacted Xia Wufeng and learned that he is also outside the Nine Sun Holy Ground. However, he is in a different direction, quite far from where he is. There is no teleportation formation connecting to the Nine Sun Holy Ground. Soon after, Qin Yun asked Im Yukong. Long Shu and Great Elder Ling both look for him to discuss the matter of moving. And Wukong can move the Heavenly Fate Dragon Lake, but Long Shu later said that there is no need to move it. Great Elder Ling also agreed to let in Wukong help move the huge Divine Universe Amethyst under their Ling Mansion. Qin Yun immediately contacted Long Shu and asked, Queen Long Shu, why don't you move the Heavenly Fate Dragon Lake? The Dragon Ancient Clan told us not to move it. They will help us settle it. Long Shu smiled and said, Boss Qin, the Ancient Dragon Clan has created a sect called the Dragon Gate. Are you coming? Come with me. I will take care of you. Qin Yun knows that the Dragon Race will definitely cooperate with the Dragon Ancient Clan. I am in the Imperial Heaven sect. Qin Yun said with a smile. Oh, that's good. Dragon sect and Imperial Heaven sect are both outside the Nine Sun Holy Ground. Maybe we will have the opportunity to fight side by side in the future. Me and a little monkey are already in the Dragon sect. Long Shu said, Long Shu, I remember there was a Dragon Tree Fairy. Where did that little guy go? Qin Yun asked. That little guy is always following me. He is just sleeping all day. Let's not talk anymore. I want to enter the Nine Sun Holy Ground with a group. After entering, I won't be able to contact the outside. Long Shu said with a smile. What? You want to go in so quickly? Qin Yun said in shock. I just want to go in and take a look. There are many big shots with divine cosmos power in the group. There is no need for a small shrimp like me to take action. I want to go in and familiarize myself with the environment. Long Shu said. After Qin Yun and Long Shu ended their conversation, he promptly took out the Imperial Heavenly Talisman's Atlas. He wants to quickly master these formidable Imperial Heavenly Talismans. The Yu Ancient Clan has the highest survival rate in the Outerverse. It is highly possible that they are relying on these Imperial Heavenly Talismans. Qin Yun learned from Yulun Hui that although the ancestors of the Yu Ancient Clan have returned, there are still very few Imperial Heavenly Talismans. It can be seen that creating Imperial Heavenly Talismans is very difficult. Old Brother Tai Shur, the runes of Imperial Heavenly Talismans shouldn't be difficult for you, right? Qin Yun took out the Divine Mirror of Primal Beginning and asked. Chapter 2839. Qin Yun has been studying this book for some time, but too many things happen later on, causing him to fall behind. Now that he continues to study it, he can take it up again. He knows Tai Shur's ability, so he asked to see if he can let Tai Shur help him quickly master it. Yu Clan Heavenly Talisman's runes originate from Bloodline Heavenly Runes. However, those Bloodline Heavenly Runes were produced by ancient Yu Clan later on. They're not the earliest Bloodline Heavenly Runes. Even I need to study them for a period of time before I can master them. Put those books into the Divine Mirror of Primal Beginning and let me study them. Really? How long will it take? Qin Yun is very pleasantly surprised. He did not expect Tai Shur to actually be able to study these complicated runes. I don't know, it will take some time. Qin Yun immediately placed the Atlas into the Divine Mirror of Primordial Beginning. Several Atlas of the Yu family Heavenly Talismans were handed over to Grand Beginning. If Tai Shur can master them, he can immediately pass them on to Qin Yun. Qin Yun thought about how he doesn't need to study those incomparably profound Yu Clan Heavenly Talisman and feels very relaxed. He took out the Pill Transformation Heavenly Furnace and placed some Divine Universe Golden Stones inside. He wants to refine some powerful Divine Universe Golden Bullets. If they were together, divine universe golden bullets could easily pierce through enemies, but now it is very difficult to deal with divine space realm experts. As long as one enters the divine space realm and tempered their body with divine power, they can block divine universe golden bullets. The previous divine universe golden bullets are too weak. I need to refine some stronger ones. Although Tai Shi is studying the Imperial Heavenly Talisman, he can still communicate with Qin Yun. He is not even affected. Old brother Tai Shi, let me tell you about the divine universe golden bullets. Qin Yun took out the divine king spear and began explaining its attack method. After Tai Shi finished speaking, he said, "If we only fuse a small amount of dragon peach stone, its strength is far from enough. Then what about evil corpse king scales? Qin Yun still has many evil corpse king scales. I calculated a divine universe golden bullet refined from 100 million divine universe golden stones can penetrate a being with 100 divine universe power. And this is not even including their armor." Tai Shi said, "What?" Qin Yun is startled. He also thought that if he wanted to replenish 100 divine universe force, he would need 100 million divine universe metal stones. Can this God King spear of yours push out a bullet made from 100 million divine universe metals? I can use the God King heavenly seal to bestow upon the God King spear an even stronger ability. It can increase the might of the divine universe golden bullets by several times. In this way, a golden bullet refined from 100 million golden stones would be able to pierce through someone with a divine cosmic force of 500. But your godly Monarch spear can't take it. Your weapon's attack line is good, but its strength can't keep up." Tai Shi said, "All right then, it seems like I can only wait until I find more good materials in the future and strengthen them before using them." Qin Yun still had many divine weapons and divine tools in his hands, but if he went to the Nine Suns Sacred Land, he wouldn't be able to keep up. Not only were the extraterrestrial beings powerful, but the weapons and armors they used were also very powerful. If he wanted to fight against extraterrestrial beings, it would be impossible to use the divine weapons and divine artifacts that he currently possessed. During the battle, it wouldn't matter if those divine weapons and divine artifacts were destroyed. What was fatal was that they wouldn't be able to be used at the critical moment. Qin Yun thought about it and felt that only the Imperial Life Heavenly Talisman could be of use. He already has an Imperial Life Heavenly Talisman on him. He doesn't know how long it would be able to last against extraterrestrial beings. In these 2 days, all the Great Heaven opening ancient clans announced that they had established sections. If one wanted to quickly progress in the divine universe realm, one could register to participate in the assessment and join their sections. The 8 heaven opening ancient clans guarded the 8 directions of the Nine Suns Sacred Land and established sections. They also clearly said that if one joined their sects, they would need to enter the Nine Suns Sacred Land to kill enemies. Some sects, in order to attract more people, even announced the famous experts that they had invited to register. For example, the Great Divine Lord went to the Yang Ancient Clan's sect. There was also the Sun En Race Emperor, Law Enforcement Realm King, and the Heaven Secret Sect Master. And the Heaven's Dragon Emperor brought all the outstanding experts of the Heaven's Dragon race to join the Dragon Ancient Clan's Dragon Sect. The Qin Ancient Clan had Sword God and the Nine Suns Sacred Land's Jian family experts. The Shao Ancient Clan had Nine Sun Divine Lady Xiao Yuelon. The Heavenly Moon Ancient Clan had the Divine Moon Clan Emperor and the Bright Moon Sect Master. The Ancient Beast Blood Clan had recruited many famous beast-type clans. They all had clan emperors, such as the Mad Sun Tiger Clan, the Nine Sun Tiger Clan, the Heavenly Lion Clan, and so on. The Qi Ancient Clan had a large number of fairies joining because there was a very powerful fairy in the Qi Ancient Clan. On the Yu Ancient Clan side, there was the Ling family patriarch, who was previously the Great Heaven Clan Emperor. Many people were also concerned about which sect Qin Yun went to. Some people suspected that it was in the Qin Ancient Clan, but they did not announce it. So Ling Tai-yun didn't need to take the assessment. He joined the Imperial Heaven sect with his father. Qin Yun did not expect that. Ling Tai-yun did not mention it to him. It was obviously to keep a secret. After learning about this, many people went to the major cities and used the teleportation formation to go to the major heaven-opening sects. Although the heaven-opening sects were located outside of the Nine-Sun Holy Land, the Nine-Sun Holy Land was very big. Therefore, each heaven-opening sect was very far away from each other. The Nine-Sun Holy Land had a very strong barrier. This was a seal placed by the myriad world divine suns. This seal was very strong at the moment. However, the creatures from the outside were not weak either. From time to time, they would open a passage. At this time, they needed to seal their passage. Those passages could not be sealed in a short period of time. A large number of creatures from the outside would come out. At this time, they needed to guard outside and exterminate them. Qin now had 300 divine space power. He had not entered the first layer of the divine space realm. This kind of foundation was very rare. Therefore, he was confident that he could pass the assessment. The time for the assessment arrived very quickly. Yulun Hui also arrived on time. He went with Qin Yun to the inner region of the Imperial Heaven sect to take the simple assessment. Although the first batch was invited in, the elder in charge of the assessment is very strict. Therefore, it is best to be serious and show your best from the beginning. Senior Yuqi also said that if you are chosen by those elders, your future will be limitless. Yulun Hui said with a smile. Has Senior Yuqi returned? Qin always wanted to know about this matter. He has returned, but his injuries are not light. Yulun Hui sighed and said, the creatures from the outside are really strong. Even a strong expert like Senior Yuqi was injured. Qin Yun asked in shock, didn't he go to seal the passage? How'd he get injured? The creatures from the outside opened the passage and rushed to the front. Those guys are not weak. Now the Imperial Heaven sect doesn't have enough manpower. Senior Yuqi can only fight head-on. Luckily, the elders arrived in time. Senior Yuqi can escape. Yulun Hui said. Chapter 2840. Not only Imperial Heaven sect disciples have to risk their lives, even seniors like Yuqi have to be prepared to die when facing outer universe life forms. Qin Yin has never seen outer universe life forms, so he doesn't know how strong they are. He tried his best to imagine, but couldn't think of anything. After all, he has never seen them with his own eyes. Not long after, they arrived at the inner region. After entering the inner region, they can see a very large building. This is also one of the few large buildings, but whether it is inside or outside, it is very simple. There are no decorations. Qin Yun and Yulun Hui entered the simple and crude, but very spacious lobby and saw several hundred people here. Yulun Hui, didn't you say you want to make your appearance younger? Qin Yun looked at Yulun Hui and said with a smile, I already found someone to help me arrange it. I will become younger very soon. Yulun Hui said with a smile. Yulun Hui's body was destroyed by Qin Yun before, but after he returned, he created a relatively young body. But now he wants to be even younger. In this lobby, the people who came to sign up are young and old. Some youngsters only have 80 or 90 divine cosmos power, but they also came to sign up. Qin Yun also saw a few arrogant youths with a divine cosmos force of 100. But there are no youngsters with more than 100 divine cosmos power. There are many young, middle-aged, and old people. Reaching 100 divine cosmos power at a young age, this is indeed very good. Taisher's divine cosmos voice came. Qin Yun used divine mirror of primal beginning to look everywhere and saw many people's divine cosmos power. Most of the people here did not use tools to hide their divine cosmos power, so divine mirror of primal beginning can easily see through them. If they hide it, divine mirror of primal beginning also can't see it. For example, Yuqi and Long Shu, they all hide their divine cosmos power. Qin Yun saw Ling Taiyun. Ling Taiyun is wearing simple clothes, although his appearance is not bad. Right now, he looks somewhat scholarly and weak, thrown in a sea of people. He is not outstanding. Qin Yun used divine mirror of primal beginning to look at him and found out that Ling Taiyun's divine cosmos power is at 100. He has not entered first-level divine cosmos realm. This guy, does he need to take the test or not? Qin Yun greeted Yulun Hui and said that he wants to walk around. Then he quietly walked towards Ling Taiyun. Ling Taiyun was the kind of person who kept a low profile. Although he was the favorite son of the Ling family patriarch, he did not have that kind of overbearing arrogance. Instead, he was quite easy to talk to. Qin Yun arrived behind Ling Taiyun and gently patted his head. Ling Taiyun turned around. Seeing it was Qin Yun, he smiled and said, "Brother-in-law, don't call me that." Qin Yun said with smile, "If you call me brother-in-law, you are older than me. You're taking advantage of me." "Big brother Qin, you really came." Seeing Qin Yun, Ling Taiyun relaxed a lot, his face filled with smile. "Do you want to take the test?" asked Qin Yun. Of course. Those who had not stepped into the first level of the divine space realm would be divided into a group. "Big brother Qin, have you stepped into the first level of the divine space realm?" Ling Taiyun asked curiously. He was not like Yu Qi, who could roughly see Qin Yun's divine cosmos power. "No," Qin Yun said. "Ah, then aren't we on the same level?" Ling Taiyun said with a smile. "That's great. We can take care of each other like this." While speaking, he put his hand on Qin Yun's shoulder and then handed him a cigarette. Qin Yun glanced at Ling Taiyun. He saw that Ling Taiyun is also smoking a high-grade, elegant smoke. "I don't smoke," Qin Yun said with a smile. Ling Taiyun can only light his own cigarette. In this lobby, there are many people smoking, men, women, young and old. Not long ago, Qin Yun gave Ming Yongtian a batch of goods. They are very popular. Ming Yongtian also sold them to Ling family. Many people are smoking elegant smoke. 30% of them are smoking. This is not bad. Time is almost up. Suddenly an old man flew in. His aura is very formidable. This old man had deliberately released his powerful divine cosmos force. The moment he entered, everyone present suddenly felt an invisible force pressing down on their shoulders. Many people's knees are already bent. It is difficult for them to stand up straight. And Qin Yun is also feeling a lot of pressure. Ling Taiyun beside him is feeling very uncomfortable. He even bit the cigarette in his mouth and broke it. The entire place suddenly became extremely quiet. Everyone was releasing their divine cosmos force to resist the sudden power that had suddenly appeared. Qin Yun secretly took out the ancient beginning divine mirror to probe the old man's divine cosmos power. Unable to accurately probe, this old man is releasing 2,000 divine cosmos power, but he is only controlling it. There's even stronger divine cosmos power inside his body that he has not released yet. Taisha replied, "This is 2,000 divine cosmos power. Moreover, it is scattered on so many people's shoulders, truly terrifying." Qin Yun has 300 divine cosmos power. If it was 300 divine cosmos power on his shoulders, he would not feel this kind of pressure. If he is 6th or 7th level divine cosmos realm, then his divine cosmos power has 6 to 7 nuclei. It is much stronger than divine cosmos power without nuclei. Only high-level divine cosmos realm experts can compare their divine cosmos power with people of the same level. Taisha said. Qin Yun thought about it, and also felt that his 300 divine cosmos power is very insignificant in the eyes of high-level divine cosmos realm experts. This old man's expression is solemn and cold. His eyes are like lightning. Although his body is very small, he has an imposing aura that makes people want to bow down to him. "I'm the Imperial Heaven Sect Master, Yu Yuan." After this old man spoke, everyone became startled. They did not expect that the Imperial Heaven Sect Master would appear. His strength is simply terrifying. After Yu Yuan finished speaking, he retracted his divine cosmos power, then floated in the air and said, "This assessment will be supervised by me. Elders, the assessment will be handed over to you." After he finished speaking, 10 elders flew in. When these 10 elders came in, they did not feel any pressure, but they all have a very dense, killing intent. This killing intent caused people to feel fear. It is as if they just killed their way out of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Qin Yun knows that this kind of killing intent must have been accumulated in the Outerverse. It is clear that they must have killed a large number of Outerverse creatures. The 10 elders are all old men. Some of them are very cold. some of them are full of smiles. We will first divide them into groups. Youths and those who have not entered first-level Divine Cosmos Realm will form one group. The rest who have not entered Divine Cosmos Realm will form the second group. They will be judged based on appearance. An elder said. Qin now suddenly understood why Yulun Hui said he wanted to make himself look younger. It is because he wants to mix with youngsters. Then there are 3 groups of first-level Divine Cosmos Realm youths and 4 groups of first-level Divine Cosmos Realm youths. Altogether, there are 4 groups. After dividing them, Ling Taiyun closely followed Qin Yun. In Ling Taiyun's eyes, Qin Yun's Divine Cosmos power is the same as his. Both just reached 100. Although in his eyes, Divine Cosmos power is the same, he knows that Qin Yun is definitely stronger than him. Chapter 2841. The latest chapter of the 9-Sun Divine King. In Qin Yun's group, apart from those youths, the other youths are currently observing their group. Those youths are young and arrogant. They feel that they are the most promising and have the best aptitude in their group. Although those youths are very unhappy with those arrogant youths, they did not say anything. After all, they reached 100 divine space power in their youth, so they indeed have the qualifications to be arrogant. Most of the youths in the youth group are very old. However, their appearance has not aged. Even at such an old age, they have just reached 100 divine space power, so they are looked down upon by the other youths. In the youth group, most of the youths were very old. It was just that their appearances had not aged. Even at such an old age, they had only just reached 100 divine space forces, which was why they were looked down upon by the other youths. Because in the future, they will most likely enter the 9-Sun Holy Land and fight side by side. After dividing into groups, the 4 groups paid attention to the people in their own group and then looked at the people in the other groups. After dividing into groups, the people in the 4 groups paid attention to the people in their own group and then looked at the people in the other groups. The first group has more people, a total of 200. They are all youths who have just entered the Divine Space Realm and have not yet entered the first level. The second group has 150 people who have just entered the Divine Space Realm and have not yet entered the first level. The gap between these 2 groups is the most obvious because they have not yet entered the first level. Some are youths and some are old. The third group has more than 100 youths who have just entered the first level of the Divine Space Realm. The fourth group also has more than 100 youths who have just entered the first level of the Divine Space Realm. The first group stays. The second, third, and fourth groups will be led by elders and will go to different areas to undergo the assessment. One of the elders said. Following that, 3 elders each led a group of people out of the hall. Now, there's only one group left in the hall. The Imperial Heaven Sect's headmaster, Yu Yuan, is still floating in the air. His eyes are filled with power as he looked at the group of youths. Now, there are still 7 elders present. The other groups are only led by 1 elder, but this group has 7 elders and the headmaster. It is clear that they attach great importance to the first group. Let's test your divine cosmos force first. A tall and sturdy bald old man shouted. The bald old man's voice was as shocking as thunder, causing the crowd to frown and cover their ears. In the great hall, apart from the youths taking the test, there were also several hundred members of the Yu clan. Some are like Yulun Hui, while others had returned from the Outerverse. The youths of the first group were all filled with confidence in their divine cosmos force, because they had all tested it with instruments. As for Qin Yun, he believed that it was not that simple. It was relatively easy to reach 100 Divine Universe Goldstones as long as one had enough Divine Universe Goldstones. The Imperial Heaven Gate would definitely not only recruit mediocre disciples, so it was not enough to just meet the standard of Divine Cosmos energy. Qin Yun also found it strange, because Yulun Hui previously said that one needed 200 Divine Cosmos Force to register. But there were a bunch of youths with 100 Divine Cosmos Force here. The bald old man's voice seemed to shake the earth as he shouted, "Our method of testing Divine Cosmos Force is very strict. It's not like your ordinary method." As the bald old man spoke, he took out a 2-meter-tall, round crystal ball and heavily placed it on the ground. There was a mirror in the middle of the crystal ball, It was the instrument used to test divine cosmos force. This kind of instrument was very common. It was first made by Qin Yun, but later on, other great powers followed suit and made similar instruments. Even the heaven-opening clan members who returned from the Outerverse felt that this kind of mirror was very useful and imitated it. You have to pass your divine cosmos energy through the thick crystal ball to the testing mirror in the middle. This will test your divine cosmos energy's cohesiveness as well as your ability to use it. Only after painstakingly cultivating divine cosmos energy is the most solid and powerful. It also means that your foundation is the most solid. It was easy to cultivate the divine cosmic force to 100, but to control it freely and to have enough penetrative power, that was not a simple matter. The bald old man's voice became a bit lower as he explained the purpose of the test. Line up and take the test. If your divine cosmos energy reaches 90, then stay. If not, then go back and cultivate for a few more years. The bald old man said. The youths of the first group immediately went into an uproar. Their divine cosmos force test only required 90 divine cosmos energy. It must be known that there were many people here who had reached 100. Qin Yin now understood why they were divided into groups. If they were middle-aged or old people, their divine cosmos energy would definitely be stronger than these youths. After all, they had cultivated for many years. With a glance, Qin Yin could see that the huge crystal ball was not an ordinary crystal. It had the ability to disperse divine cosmos energy. He secretly suspected that this material might have been brought back from the Outerverse and could be used to make defensive tools that could condense divine cosmos energy into attacks. At this time, a youth with a cold and arrogant expression walked towards the crystal ball with large strides. As he walked, he said, I come from the powerful Qilin bloodline Wang family, Wang Shaolin. My divine cosmos energy reached 100 a long time ago. Qilin bloodline Wang family? A branch of the Qilin clan? Seems very strong. Someone exclaimed. This guy, he announced his name so early. If he didn't pass the test, wouldn't he lose all face? Someone mocked in a low voice. Wang Shaolin arrived in front of the huge crystal ball, placed his hands on it, and then stared at the mirror in the middle of the crystal ball. He shouted loudly and released a wave of red divine cosmos force. One could see several red beams of light scattering in the crystal, and only a very weak beam of light entered the mirror. Very soon, a number appeared on the mirror. It was unexpectedly only 70. The people of the first group all cried out in alarm, because they believed that they were not much stronger than Wang Shaolin, and Wang Shaolin only had 70. He would not be able to pass this test. Wang Shaolin's expression became unsightly. Then he shouted again and crazily released divine cosmos energy. His face became distorted. The second time he tried, his divine cosmos energy only reached 55. It had dropped by a lot. After releasing divine cosmos energy, it would decrease by a lot. If he wanted to maintain his best condition, he must replenish his divine cosmos energy to the maximum. After resting for 3 days, he had replenished his divine cosmos energy to 300. So he is now in his best condition. Failed, the bald old man coldly said. Next, Wang Shaolin, whose face was filled with arrogance just a moment ago, suddenly became dejected. He also felt that he had lost a lot of face. He lowered his head and retreated into the crowd. He did not leave immediately. He wanted to see who would be able to pass the divine cosmos energy test. Ling Taiyun, who was beside Qin Yun, suddenly became very nervous and said in low voice, Big brother Qin, do you think I can pass or not? Why don't you go up and try? Let's go. Qin Yun laughed, then grabbed Ling Taiyun's arm and threw him forward. Just like this, Ling Taiyun was thrown in front of the crystal ball. Ling Taiyun cursed Qin Yun a few times in his heart, then took a deep breath and began adjusting his condition. Chapter 2842. After Ling Taiyun went up, he felt a lot of pressure. He was very worried that he wouldn't be able to pass. His divine cosmos force increased very quickly, and he thought that his foundation was a bit unstable. Isn't that Ling Taiyun from the Ling family? His father is the former emperor of the Extreme Sky clan. He's pretty strong. So he's from the Extreme Sky Divine clan. I wonder if he has inherited a bloodline heavenly pattern. He should have, otherwise he wouldn't have come here. Even the people of the ancient Yu clan were curious about Ling Taiyun because they knew that he might have a bloodline heavenly pattern. Ling Taiyun was a junior. If he really had a bloodline heavenly pattern, it might be a second or third generation one. "Let's begin," said the bald old man. Ling Taiyun took a deep breath. After a long while, he placed his palm on the crystal ball and released his divine cosmos force with one hand. Everyone knew that this kind of test required a very strong divine cosmos force. Releasing the strongest divine cosmos force with one hand would put a great burden on that hand. Wang Shaolin had released a very strong divine cosmos force in the previous test, but he had released it with both hands. Moreover, he couldn't release it all at once. That was why he could release it a second time, but it was much weaker. He only had 100 divine cosmos force in his body. If his body was strong enough, and he used a powerful cultivation technique, he could release even more divine cosmos force. The result of the test would also be higher. If he used the divine cosmos force well, and used it with a cultivation technique, he could surpass 100 divine cosmos force. Powerful cultivation techniques could allow the divine cosmos force to surpass the limit. This was the meaning of cultivation techniques. Ling Taiyun shouted and released all the divine cosmos force in his body through his palms. The sleeve on his arm suddenly spurted out a bloody mist. His arm swelled up and exploded with an imposing aura, tearing the sleeve apart. A golden light shot out from Ling Taiyun's palm and into the mirror. Seeing this scene, Wang Shaolin was dumbfounded. He didn't think that someone would be so desperate to release the divine cosmos force through one arm. After Ling Taiyun released the divine cosmos force, his whole body swayed. His face was deathly pale and his palm was torn. His arm was a bloody mess. It was very frightening. It was just a test, and he was going to destroy his arm. At this moment, everyone present realized that if they wanted to enter the Imperial Heaven Gate, they must be prepared to risk it all. They all knew that they would have to enter the Nine Suns sacred ground to kill enemies in the future, and they could lose their lives at any time. If he did not have such a heart, then he was not fit to enter the Imperial Heaven sect. Although Ling Taiyun was very weak, he usually looked weak and scholarly, but at this moment his face was calm. It was hard to tell that he was such a ruthless person. He had paid such a great price, and the result of the test was extremely shocking. He had reached 110 points of divine cosmic force. Even Ling Taiyun himself did not expect that he, who only had 100 points of divine cosmos force, would actually erupt with such a high amount of divine cosmos force when he went all out. At this moment, everyone understood the true meaning behind this test of divine cosmos force. You originally had 100 divine cosmos force, and after erupting, you had 150. However, when you passed through the crystal, you lost 40 divine cosmos force, and only 110 divine cosmos force reached the testing apparatus. This is very ordinary. The bald old man's expression did not change at all, as he calmly said. Very average? This caused everyone in Team 1 to be shocked. At this time, an old man threw a pill to Ling Taiyun. After Ling Taiyun received it, he promptly thanked the old man and swallowed the pill. His complexion quickly became much better, but his arm did not immediately recover. From the bald old man's reaction, Qin Yun could tell that this kind of test is very common. The Heaven Opening Clan members who returned from the Outerverse must have received this kind of training frequently. They were all the kind of people who put their lives on the line. After entering the Nine Suns sacred ground, they had to put their lives on the line to face the creatures from the outside world. When facing life or death, they had to put their lives on the line to survive. There were 200 people in the youth group, but none of the following youths were able to reach 90 divine cosmos force. This caused the elders to repeatedly shake their heads. They were very disappointed. The arrogant youths were now all taught a lesson. Their previous arrogance has completely disappeared. They all stood dejectedly at the side. There were a few youths like Ling Taiyun who did not hesitate to damage their arms to erupt with the strongest divine cosmos force. Their divine cosmos force all exceeded 90. Qin Yin now understood that the upper limit of one's divine cosmos force was one thing, but after releasing it, the divine cosmos force would be even higher than one's body's upper limit. He guessed that the divine cosmos force carried the strength of the physical body, and when it was released, it would cause the divine cosmos force to become even stronger. In other words, during battle, if one cooperated with the physical body and used their cultivation technique well, the divine cosmos force that could be released would be even higher than one's body's upper limit. I currently have 300 divine cosmos force. If I use it without any regard for my life, how much will it be? Qin Yin decided to give it a try later. Yu Qi had previously told him that he had to display his strength as much as possible. Only then would the elders teach him everything they knew. The elders wanted to nurture powerful warriors to kill their enemies. If he wanted them to spend so much effort to nurture him, then he had to display his value. Qin Yin was not in a hurry to take the test. There were 200 people in his group, and only 100 or so had been tested. At this time, the third group returned. The third group was the group of youths in the first level of the divine cosmos realm. There were more than 100 of them, but only 12 had returned. Out of more than 100 people, only 12 had passed the test. This was indeed shocking. They didn't seem to have any injuries. Qin Yin glanced at the 12 youths and unexpectedly recognized some of them. One of them was Wei Shuangyan. Great Heaven Divine Races Wei Family's Wei Shuangyan, a great heaven war god. Unexpectedly, he also came to the Imperial Heaven sect. Wei Shuangyan was brutally beaten by Qin Yin, and his injuries were very serious. But now he is still in the first level of the divine cosmos realm and still passed the test. The youths who passed the test are more or less proud. They stood to the side and watched. Wei Shuangyan also noticed the injured Ling Taiyun. He couldn't help but sneer and said, "Ling family's main force, Ling Taiyun, is actually in such a sorry state. You guys in the third group don't make sarcastic remarks. If you wanted to pass the first group's test, you would also be injured. If you were to pass the first group's test, I'm afraid you wouldn't be able to pass." The bald old man said with sneer. The bald old man's voice was very loud. It was like thunder piercing the ears. After Wei Shuangyan and the others heard it, they didn't even dare to let out a fart, because they also noticed that the few youths who passed the first group's test all had their arms injured too badly to look at. Not only Ling Taiyun and the others, there were more than 10 youths who also threw caution to the wind but still couldn't pass. From this, it can be seen that although they all have 100 divine cosmos power, there's still a gap. This group's test focuses more on potential and foundation, as well as fighting spirit. Everyone present understood that since the first group was so strictly selected, they would definitely be heavily nurtured. Therefore, they must do their best to select the best. Mobile users, please visit. Chapter 2843. Ling Taiyun did not care about Wei Shuangyan. What he cared about was how much Qin Yin would reach. When Wei Shuangyan saw Ling Taiyun looking at Qin Yin, he also looked over and could not help but be startled. Qin Yin did not disguise himself, but he was dressed more formally today and did not wear a cap, so he did not recognize him. And now, he recognized that this was the young divine king who had heavily injured him that day, Qin Yin. There were not many people present who recognized Qin Yin. This was because there were few images of Qin Yin on the magic mirror. Some of them were rather blurry. And Wukong was in charge of managing the content on the magic mirror platform. He would purposely hide the images of some people, such as Qin Yin, Xia Wufeng, and others who were close to Qin Yin. Wei Shuangyan was very alarmed because Qin Yin, a young divine king, actually came to the Imperial Heaven sect and not the ancient Qin clan's Heavenly Qin sect or the ancient Dragon clan's Dragon sect. Many people guessed that Qin Yin would most likely go to the Heavenly Qin sect or the Dragon sect. This was because Qin Yun's surname was Qin, and he had a good relationship with the All Heavens Dragon race. And because the Sun Dragon Emperor had a good relationship with Qin Yun. After learning that Qin Yun was in the Imperial Heaven Gate, Wei Shuangyan immediately took out the magic mirror and announced this shocking news on the magic mirror platform. He did not dare to take a picture of Qin Yun, afraid that Qin Yun would catch him and beat him up after discovering it. Even though Wei Shuangyan knew that Qin Yun had just entered the divine space realm, even if he had 100 times more courage, he still would not dare to provoke Qin Yun. He was very clear that Qin Yun's strength could not be judged by his cultivation realm. Previously, Qin Yun's cultivation level was extremely low, but he could shake a great divine monarch. Now that he had just entered the divine universe realm, he was definitely very strong. Almost everyone in the hall has a magic mirror. They immediately learned that young divine King Qin Yun is actually here. Furthermore, he is in the same group. In this way, everyone could immediately confirm that Qin Yun's cultivation had just entered the divine space realm and had not yet stepped into the first level of the divine space realm. Generally speaking, when one had just entered the divine space realm, their divine space force would be below 100. But when one registered to join the Imperial Heaven sect, it meant that their divine space force had reached 100. Even so, no one dared to look down on this little divine king. After all, the things that little divine king did previously were still fresh in everyone's memory. Wang Shaolin looked at Team 1 and asked, "Which one is Qin Yun?" Little divine king is actually in the same group. Why is he cowering and not daring to show his face? Because they knew that Qin Yun was here, the test also stopped, causing a small commotion. Qin Yun said, "How am I cowering? I registered under Qin Yun's name. I didn't disguise myself or wear a mask." Hearing Qin Yun speak, everyone immediately looked at him. Even Sect Master Yuan was staring at Qin Yun. Only when they're close to Qin Yun can they feel that his divine cosmos power is relatively high. It was the same for Yu Qi Sect Master, and other elders are quite far away from Qin Yun, so they don't know that Qin Yun's divine cosmos power exceeds 100. The news traveled fast, and soon, a group of people came in. Among them was Yu Xingyu. Yu Xingyu was Yu Yaoyao's father. Because of his daughter, his status wasn't low. In addition, he was quite strong. Hence, he was considered a respectable person in the ancient Yu clan. Using a space-transforming crystal to test one's divine space force? Why is it so harsh? Yu Xingyu exclaimed after he entered the room. My son worked his heart out and still didn't reach the standard. Those who can pass this test are all good seedlings. The middle-aged man who followed Yu Xingyu sighed with emotion. Just now, the third group finally understood how dreadful this test is. Even the ancient Yu clan people might not be able to pass. Wang Shaolin looked at Qin Yun and yelled, "Young divine king, go and take the test. You are a young divine king. You should be different from the others. Can you not harm yourself like others?" The bald old man looked at Qin Yun and said with a smile, "I didn't expect that among the big and small divine kings, a young divine king would come to our Imperial Heaven sect. But let me tell you, even if you are a young divine king, when you come to our Imperial Heaven sect, you have to rely on your strength. We welcome famous people, but only those with strength." Yu Yuan said, "Qin Yun, if you can pass the divine cosmos power test, our Imperial Heaven sect will give a famous person like you preferential treatment." Qin Yun already walked towards the space-transforming crystal. The bald old man said, "Qin Yun, if you want to pass the test, you better suffer a bit. Don't be misled by that brat's words. Our test is a multifaceted test. If you don't harm yourself, you won't be able to pass." Qin Yun said with a smile, "Elder, maybe I'm truly different from the others. Otherwise, I wouldn't be a divine king. You can become a divine king. You indeed have your outstanding points. I admit that." The bald old man said with a smile, "However, you have just entered the divine cosmos realm. Although I don't know how you understood this realm so early, you're still a newcomer in this realm." The heaven-opening ancient clan's elders are very clear about Qin Yun's matter. They're also very curious about him. Qin Yun has already arrived in front of the space-transforming crystal. He is very close to the bald old man. The bald old man suddenly sensed that Qin Yun is somewhat different, and his expression cannot help but change. He is an elder. He is even stronger than Yu Qi, he can naturally sense that Qin Yun's divine cosmos power is not normal. He is very sure that Qin Yun's divine cosmos power has no nucleus. It means that he has not entered first layer divine cosmos realm. This is divine cosmos power that exceeds the limit. Seeing the bald old man's expression, Yu Yuan hastily asked, "Elder Yu Guang, what's wrong?" His divine cosmos power exceeds the limit. It is more than 100 in static state. No, it is more than 200. Yu Guang said in shock. Static divine cosmos power is more than 200. This caused Group 1 people to look at each other in dismay because they don't know what is going on. In their opinion, 100 divine cosmos power is the limit of initial divine cosmos realm. If they want to surpass this limit, they must enter first layer divine cosmos realm. Elder, is he not in the same group? This guy is actually so dishonest. He sneaked into the same group. A youth said in a very bad mood. No, he indeed has not entered first layer divine cosmos realm. Yu Guang said with frown. This is exceeding the limit. You guys don't understand. This is very rare. Even Wei Shuangyin and others who have entered first layer divine cosmos realm don't know what is going on. Ling Taiyun is already dumbfounded. He has also not entered first layer divine cosmos realm, but Qin Yun's divine cosmos power is more than 200. What is going on? Only Yuluan Hui beside him knows that Qin Yun's divine cosmos power has reached 300. Qin Yun, start the test. With your current condition, you can definitely pass. Moreover, you don't need to harm yourself. You are indeed different from the masses. Yu Guang took a deep breath and said. Qin Yun stretched out 2 fingers. He wants to use Heaven Extinguishing Finger to condense divine cosmos power and explode it. When other people tested, they used divine cosmos power to pass through their entire palm, causing their palm to explode. As for Qin Yun, he only used 2 fingers. This gave the people who did the self-mutilation test quite a fright. Mobile users, please visit Chapter 2844. A complete copy. I will update the latest chapter of the 9 Sons Divine King as soon as possible. The reason why Ling Taiyun and the others had to mutilate themselves to erupt with God Cosmos Force was because their physical bodies were too weak and could not withstand the extreme eruption of God Cosmos Force. However, Qin Yun was different. He had cultivated 108 divine universe golden tendons and possessed a super heaven divine body. The strength of his body was not something that others could compare with. For an elder like Imperial Light, they were all very clear that if one's divine space force could exceed 200 before stepping into the first level of the divine space realm, it meant that their corporeal body was very strong, and it had definitely tempered their divine space golden tendons. As for how many divine universe golden tendons he had refined, Yu Guang and the other elders were also very curious. Qin Yun mobilized the 200 divine cosmos power in his body. He wanted to release 200 divine cosmos power in one go. This way, he would still have 100 left. If he were to explode all at once, he was really worried that it would cause a huge commotion. Moreover, it would also make him feel weak all over, which would make him feel very insecure. Moreover, replenishing divine space energy required time. If he wanted to quickly replenish it, he would need to consume divine space gold stones. If he used 200 points of divine space force to erupt, he would definitely be able to reach the standard. Moreover, the divine space force that came out of the test would be very high. 300 divine space force bursting forth was also a great burden on his fingers, so he felt that 200 was just right. Qin Yun's heart is that energy body. It is also the divine universe in his body. The heart of Imperial Heaven has already fused with it. With just a thought, the 200 light dots in his divine universe immediately gathered together and rushed out from his divine universe. When it surged out, it would fuse and collide with the divine cosmos force, causing the divine cosmos force to explosively increase. This was the reason why when one used a cultivation method to revolve the divine cosmos force, their divine cosmos force would increase by a great deal. Qin Yun immediately felt a slight pain in his arm. After all, A large amount of fused, ferocious divine universe power was rushing out. Soon, the divine cosmos energy surged towards his fingertips. Heaven severing 9 fingers, piercing the heavens. This was a divine technique that had an extremely strong penetrative power, and it also had an obvious effect on divine cosmos force. It could condense divine cosmos force and release an extremely strong penetrative power. Qin Yun's finger shot out a blue light. What was surprising was that the blue light did not scatter to other parts of the crystal ball. Instead, it tightly condensed together and shot towards the mirror in the middle of the crystal ball. Everyone stared at the mirror in the center of the crystal ball, thinking that they would be able to see the test results immediately. However, to everyone's surprise, after the mirror was struck by a blue ray of light, it was penetrated. The crowd was silent for a moment when they witnessed this scene, and then exclamations of surprise resounded successively. The testing mirror has been pierced by Qin Yun's divine cosmos power, and the entire mirror has been destroyed. Yu Yuan and the other elders were moved. Their eyes were filled with surprise and excitement. Qin Yun frowned slightly, as he secretly despised the poor quality of the testing equipment. In fact, this kind of detection device was not meant for defensive purposes, nor was it made for such an extreme test. Qin Yun's attack just now was equivalent to a very strong divine cosmos power attack. If this kind of cheap examination mirror could block it, it would be abnormal. One must know that the power of Qin Yun's sky-piercing finger is equivalent to a very strong attack. Furthermore, it has a strong penetrating power. Only a defensive tool can block it. Elder, how should we calculate this? Do you want to try again? Qin Yun is rather calm, because this is not the first time he destroyed someone else's testing equipment. Qin Yun, you passed the test. Although Elder Yuguang was already mentally prepared, he is still scared by Qin Yun's divine cosmos power. Elder, did he really not step into first-level divine cosmos realm? Yu Xingyu suddenly asked. To be able to pierce through the testing equipment, he would need at least several hundred divine cosmos power. Yu Guang said, "This is not strange. The testing equipment was originally not specially made to withstand high burst of divine cosmos power. Qin Yun's divine cosmos power just now was high burst. I estimate it to be around 200 divine cosmos power. After high burst, it might be around 300. Qin Yun's divine cosmos power is actually 200. High burst can reach 300. Doesn't this mean that even a first-level divine cosmos realm expert would be insta-killed by Qin Yun? Qin Yun still has at least several tens of divine cosmos power inside his body." Yu Yuan's eyes are filled with admiration. A smile appeared on his solemn old face, and he said, "I want this disciple. You don't have any objection, right?" "I have an objection. The choice is in Qin Yun's hands, not in Sect Master's hands." Yu Guang immediately shouted. Everyone is stunned. Sect Master and elders actually want to fight over Qin Yun. That's right. Qin Yun knows nothing about Sect Master and us. We have to give him the right to choose. Let him choose the best teacher. Another round-faced elder said with mischievous smile. "Qin Yun, within Imperial Heaven Sect, Sect Master is not the most awesome. Actually, Sect Master is very busy. There is no benefit for you to follow him. As for me, I'm a relatively idle elder." Seeing that these elders and Sect Master are about to quarrel, Qin Yun promptly said, "Sect Master and elders, let's wait for Group 1's assessment to finish first." Group 1's youths are incomparably envious of Qin Yun. Now they finally know why he can become a young divine king. Both of them have not stepped into divine space realm, yet Qin Yun's divine space power is as high as 200, and after erupting, it can reach more than 300. Just thinking about it is terrifying. Ling Taiyun knows that Qin Yun is very awesome, but he did not expect him to be so terrifying. Yuluan Hui is also the same. Both of them are very happy at this moment, because after entering Nine Sun Holy Ground, with Qin Yun by their side, they will not be in so much danger. Qin Yun is also at a loss. He does not know which big shot he should follow. Now it seems that Imperial Heaven Sect Master Yu Yuan is stronger but Yu Guang's strength is also not bad. He just did not show it. As for the other elders, they must have their own strong points, otherwise they would not be able to become elders of Imperial Heaven Sect. It must be known that Imperial Heaven Sect elders have to go to battle at any time to resist the foreign creatures from Nine Sun Holy Ground. At the crucial moment, they have to stand at the forefront and fight with their lives on the line. Without some ability, they cannot become elders and sect master of Imperial Heaven Sect. After careful consideration, Qin Yun also decided on a direction to take. At this moment, Group 1's assessment has also ended. The test was a test. Out of 200 people, only 15 could pass. It could be said to be a very small number. Apart from Qin Yun, the others who passed were taken away by Imperial Heaven Sect's instructors. And the strength of Imperial Heaven Sect's instructors is also not bad. Like Yu Qi, he is one of the instructors. Usually he also needs to kill enemies. What the elders want are good seedlings like Qin Yun, who has not entered first-level Divine Space Realm, but has Divine Space power over 100. Qin Yun, have you thought about who you want to follow? Make your decision. No matter who you choose, you will be my Imperial Heaven Sect's disciple. Don't be afraid of offending anyone. We will not blame you. Yu Guang said with a smile. I am an inscription master. I am not good at fighting, so it is best for me to focus on inscription. I want to learn Yu Clan's heavenly talisman. Qin Yun looked at the elders, then looked at Sect Master Yu Yuan. Not good at fighting? Ling Taiyun, Wei Shuangyin, and Yu Xinyu do not believe it. They have seen Qin Yun's ferocious fighting appearance. Chapter 28:45. Hearing that Qin Yun wants to learn the Yu Clan's heavenly talisman, everyone looked at each other in shock. Are you stupid? The Yu Clan's heavenly talisman is a secret of the Yu Clan. Someone shouted, this person is here to take the test. Every major power in Divine Desolate knows how powerful the Yu Clan's heavenly talisman is. Moreover, there are rumors that the ancestors of the Yu Clan were able to maintain a certain level of superiority after entering the Outerverse because of the Yu Clan's heavenly talisman. If the Yu Clan's heavenly talisman cannot be divulged, then everyone would think that it is normal. So even if the Yu Clan's heavenly talisman is very strong, their Imperial Heaven Sect doesn't have many famous people. Everyone knows that the Imperial Heaven Sect's strongest point is the Yu Clan's heavenly talisman. But if they can't learn it, then their attraction will be greatly reduced. The sects of the other heaven-splitting ancient clans all had generous conditions, and the cultivation techniques they passed down were all very powerful. Speaking about the Yu Clan's heavenly talisman, the sect master and elder's expression became even more solemn. If it's not possible, then forget it. It is understandable. Qin Yun has already obtained the diagram of many Yu Clan's heavenly talisman. If he has some time, he can also make it. What he needs is the lost Yu Clan's heavenly talisman. The Yu Clan's heavenly talisman is indeed not divulged, but there is an exception. Yu Yuan said. Everyone is shocked. There is actually an exception. Even Yu Xingyu and the other Yu Clan members don't know about this. Although Yu Linhui secretly gave the diagram to Qin Yun, he doesn't know about the Yu Clan's heavenly talisman being divulged. Then there are some conditions? Don't need to sign a soul contract to not divulge it? Qin Yun asked. No, we are not afraid of divulging it. If you want to divulge it, you must first master it. This process is very difficult. If you can master it, then there is no need to divulge it. Yu Yuanzhang suddenly sighed. No one knows why he sighed. Yu Guang said, Qin Yun, if you want to learn the Yu Clan's heavenly talisman, then you are not following us elders. You seem to be very suitable for battle, but instead of following us, you are wasting a lot of time on the Yu Clan's heavenly talisman. What if you don't learn it? Everyone immediately understood that the Yu Clan was willing to teach Qin Yun, but they were afraid that he wouldn't be able to learn it. It was obvious how difficult it was to learn the Yu Clan's heavenly talisman. How about this? If I really can't learn it, I will retreat in the face of difficulties. I will stop as soon as possible and cultivate battle god technique with you. Qin Yun said, we respect your choice, but we are not the ones who taught you the Yu Clan's heavenly talisman. You have passed the test and are now a disciple of the Imperial Heaven Sect. But you did not pass that person's test. So whether or not he is willing to teach you the Yu clan heavenly talisman depends on whether or not you can pass that person's test. Yu Yuan said. Sect Master Yu Yuan and the other elders were all filled with killing intent. They often fought with foreign beings, so they would not make the Yu clan heavenly talisman. The person who passed the heavenly talisman to the Yu family was someone else, and it seemed like that person had a very high status. Let me try, Qin Yun said. In his eyes, the Yu heavenly talisman was the way to go. You better prove that you have potential in inscription Dao. If we send you over, but you don't have talent in this aspect, he will curse you to death. Yu Yuan seems to be somewhat afraid of that person. Everyone is secretly apprehensive. Even the sect master of the Imperial Heaven sect is afraid of being cursed. How do I prove it? Qin Yun said with frown. Everyone knows about my inscription level. Yu Yuan shook his head and said with sigh. Our Yu ancient clan has many talented inscription masters. These inscription masters can instantly release complex totem runes, but none of them can learn the Yu clan heavenly talisman. I have studied the Imperial Heavenly Talisman. It seems to me that it is not difficult, Qin Yun suddenly said. The Imperial Heavenly Talisman you have seen are the simplest kind. A true Imperial Heavenly Talisman can transfer thousands upon thousands of divine cosmos power. Yu Yuan's words caused many people present to be shocked. When one is attacked by a formidable divine cosmos power, being able to transfer the divine cosmos power to attack the opponent, just thinking about it is very scary. I have inscription spirit, Qin Yun said. This should be fine, right? Having inscription spirit doesn't mean anything. Our Yu ancient clan also has a few geniuses who have inscription spirit. Yu Yuan shook his head and said, I have Wild Hua, Star Lord, Yu Ji, and Sun Emperor. These are all inscription spirits. Qin Yun said again, Is this fine? He did not say much. If it is not enough, it is not too late to say more. Everyone is dumbfounded. These inscription spirits are all very famous, especially Sun Emperor inscription spirit. It is a legendary inscription spirit. Even Yu Yuan's face is filled with disbelief. He said with frown, How is this possible? How did you get them? I am a divine king. Isn't it normal for me to have inscription spirits? Not to mention inscription spirits. I even have bloodline heavenly pattern box. There is nothing strange about it. Qin Yun said with smile. It is very difficult for others to have even one, but Qin Yun is saying that there is nothing strange about it. This caused many people to feel very jealous. All right, I will take you to try it out. Whether or not you can pass his assessment will depend on yourself. Yu Yuan recalled that Qin Yun has bloodline heavenly pattern box. Maybe he can pass. Qin Yun nodded his head and asked, Sect Master, what is his assessment like? If he thinks it is fine, then it is fine. You just stand there and let him see. Yu Yuan slowly flew out of the lobby and said, Follow me. Qin Yun hurriedly flew over and left the hall together. After they left, many Yu ancient clan people started discussing. They don't understand why Yu clan heavenly talisman can be given to outsiders. Elder Yu Guang, Yu clan heavenly talisman is in the hands of outsiders. Is this good? Yu Xingyu ran over and asked in low voice. If it was not given to outsiders, Yu clan heavenly talisman would have been lost long ago. Do you know that the person who has the most Yu clan heavenly talisman is not from our Yu ancient clan? It is an outsider. Elder Yu Guang coldly groaned. Everyone is shocked. The person who has the most Yu clan heavenly talisman is actually an outsider. Is that the person Sect Master brought Qin Yun to see? Yu Xingyu said in amazement. Indeed, that person is very important to our Yu ancient clan. He is not an Imperial Heaven sect. As for where he is, you don't have the qualifications to know. All of you disperse. Go back and cultivate properly. There are more and more foreign creatures in Nine Sun Holy Land. Elder Yu Guang shouted. Everyone's heart is filled with amazement and curiosity. They left together. After Qin Yun and Yu Yuan left the lobby, they arrived at a teleportation formation. Yu Yuan stood on the teleportation formation and asked in low voice, Qin Yun, what is the upper limit of your divine cosmos power now? 300. Qin Yun truthfully replied, What? How is this possible? Even if you managed to refine 108 divine universe golden tendons, you would only be able to refine 208 divine universe golden tendons at most. Adding on the others, you would at most reach 250 or 260 divine universe golden tendons. How did you reach 300? Chapter 2846. After activating the teleportation formation, Yu Yuan arrived at a city. This city seems to have been built by ancient Yu clan and god Desolate. Qin Yin has never been here before. This city is not very big, but it is protected by many formation pillars. Moreover, after arriving here, Qin Yin can clearly sense that there is a lot of divine cosmos power all around. Qin Yin did not ask where this place is. He just followed behind Yu Yuan and walked on the empty street. This is a secret city that we built. It is very far away from Nine Sun Holy Land. Moreover, it is located in a very desolate and remote area. Even if outerverse life forms come out and occupy God Desolate, they won't come here in a short period of time. Yu Yuan said, God Desolate is very big. However, most of the people are gathered in the areas with abundant resources. Therefore, there are many places that are uninhabited and no one will go to those places. This city is built in the uninhabited area. Qin Yin sensed that the divine cosmos power gathered here is very dense. There must be some resources deep underground. Sect Master, you are the ancestors of the heaven-splitting ancient clan. Do you know if there are any other powerful beings in our universe apart from you? Qin Yin believed that there were, but he had yet to find any traces of them. Yes, but they won't interfere in this matter because the outerverse invasion of the divine desolate realm has not affected them at all. However, they have still given us a certain amount of help. Imperial Yuan said, There really are. How strong are they? Qin Yin is very pleasantly surprised and asked, We don't know about that. In short, God Desolate is nothing to them. They are not in God Desolate. We only had some contact with them, and they knew that we were facing some difficulties, so they gave us some help. Yu Yuan shook his head. Even if God Desolate falls, it won't affect those people. That means that they have reached a certain level of strength and won't be affected by the environment. There are very few people in this city. Qin Yin walked on the street and didn't see anyone. After asking, he found out that only core members of ancient Yu clan have the qualifications to stay here. Yu Yuan brought Qin Yin to the southern district of the small city and entered a large residence. After entering, Qin Yin sensed that this place is somewhat different. Although the hall of the residence is very simple, it is filled with all kinds of complicated runes. Qin Yin looked at those runes and secretly exclaimed in his heart, They are all heavenly rune grade. Someone extracted complex heavenly runes and fused them into all kinds of sceneries and murals. It looks as if they are formed by nature itself. If one doesn't look carefully, they wouldn't be able to tell that these runes are actually runes. Let's just sit here and wait. Someone will come out to see us. Yu Yuan said. Sect Master, can you tell me more about that senior? This way I can understand him in advance. Qin Yin asked. He comes from a Shao family. His name is Shao Qihong. This name is definitely unfamiliar to you, but in the ears of us who have returned from the Heaven-Opening clan, it's a very frightening name. Yu Yuan smiled. It was obvious that he was proud that the ancient Yu clan had such a big shot. Shao family? Why is it in the Yu ancient clan? Qin Yin was very curious about this. Let's talk about it later. Yu Yuan was about to say something, but he suddenly stood up. Shao Qihong had already arrived. By the time Qin Yin reacted, he saw an old man dressed in red standing in front of the hall. Please take a seat. Shao Qihong extended his hand and made a gesture, indicating Qin Yin and Yu Yuan to sit down. At the same time, he also indicated that they don't need to greet each other. Shao Qihong's hair and eyebrows are all white. He doesn't have any beard. He looks very young. If he dyed his hair and eyebrows black, he would be a handsome middle-aged man. Senior, this little guy is called Qin Yin. His divine cosmos power is 300. He has not entered first-level divine cosmos realm. Moreover, he wants to learn the Yu clan heavenly talisman. Yu Yuan immediately explained. Shao Qihong looks younger than Yu Yuan. Nobody expected him to be Yu Yuan Sr. Hearing that Qin Yun has 300 divine cosmos power, Xiao Qihong's expression did not change at all. A Yuan, do you approve of his inscription talent? Xiao Qihong asked in calm tone. I approve, Yu Yuan replied. Is he from the Qin ancient clan? Xiao Qihong asked again. No, he is a human from Divine Desolate. He has the Divine King heavenly seal of Divine Desolate. He is the young Divine King of Divine Desolate. He has obtained the approval of the Nine-Sun Lost Spirit. Yu Yuan has a good understanding of Qin Yun. After learning about Qin Yun, Xiao Qihong's eyes revealed a trace of surprise and said, All right, I will discuss and study the Yu clan heavenly talisman with him. Discuss and study? Qin Yun doesn't understand. Even I have not completely mastered the Yu clan heavenly talisman. Moreover, I don't have the ability to teach others. What I can do is pass down my experience to you. Whether or not you can master it will depend on your perception, Xiao Qihong said. Xiao Qihong finished speaking, took out a very large book, placed it on the ground, and said, This is the foundation of the Yu clan heavenly talisman. If you can completely understand it, you will be able to quickly master all one-star Yu clan heavenly talisman. One-star Yu clan heavenly talisman? Yu clan heavenly talisman is divided into several stars? Qin Yun said in amazement. Xiao Qihong nodded and said, The highest is 10 stars. If you can master one star, it means that you have talent and enough perception. Then I will share more experience with you. I heard the Yu ancient clan has 5 books of Yu clan heavenly talisman. What is the difference between them and this one? Qin Yun asked again. Their 5 Yu clan heavenly talisman can't even be considered as one-star Yu clan heavenly talisman. It is only superficial knowledge. Moreover, it is very messy. Therefore, its power is very low. Yu Yuan said, What Senior Xiao has mastered is the most orthodox. It is also not the most orthodox because the Yu clan heavenly talisman is constantly evolving. This is a very strange process. Only by mastering the runes of the Yu clan heavenly talisman can one feel that the Yu clan heavenly talisman is constantly evolving. Xiao Qihong patted Qin Yun's shoulder and said, Youngster, you don't need to be too anxious to master it. This kind of thing cannot be rushed. Qin Yun put away the book. He knows that whether or not he can master it will depend on his own talent. If Xiao Qihong can teach others, then he will not be the only one in the entire Yu ancient clan who can master it. All right, you can make a breakthrough now. First, step into the first tier of the divine space realm, and then cultivate the divine battle technique in the Imperial Heaven Gate. If you want to use the runes of the Yu clan heavenly talisman, your own strength must also keep up. Xiao Qihong's face revealed a trace of smile. I truly hope that you can learn it. Yu Yuan coughed dryly, then said to Qin Yun with smile, Qin Yun, you will have to return to Imperial Heaven Sect in the end. You can choose one of us elders to be your teacher. Chapter 28:47. After all, Yu Yuan was the sect master, even if his strength was not the strongest, but as the sect master, his quality in all aspects was definitely higher than those elders. However, Qin Yun feels that Elder Imperial Light is pretty good. Although that bald old man looks very sturdy and fierce, he is actually a warm-hearted old man. He is also very straightforward. Qin Yun really did not understand the sect master and elders. Senior Xiao, why don't you help me make a choice? I know very little about the sect master and the elders, so I don't know which one is suitable for me. Qin Yun said to Xiao Qihong with a smile. Do you like fighting? If you like to fight, then choose Imperial Light. If you really aren't good at fighting, then choose another elder. This way, you'll have more life-saving means. Xiao Qihong directly gave a suggestion. Qin Yun, didn't you say you're not good at fighting? Yu Yuan said with mischievous laugh. Then don't choose Imperial Light. I'm not good at fighting, but that doesn't mean I don't like fighting. To be honest, I really want to enter the Nine-Sun sacred ground to kill enemies. I'm not afraid of fighting. Qin Yun spoke from the bottom of his heart. All right then, if you're really not afraid, then choosing Royal Light is definitely the right choice. Royal Yuan didn't insist. He nodded and said, Royal Light is very experienced when it comes to fighting extraterrestrial beings. The number of extraterrestrial beings he has killed is the highest among us. Then it's settled. I choose Elder Yuguang, Qin Yin said with smile. Remember, don't die. Entering the nine-sun sacred ground is not to send you to your deaths, but to familiarize yourselves with the environment inside. Familiarize yourselves with how to sense the creatures outside and how to defend against them. Xiao Qi Hong instructed. Many thanks for Senior's reminder. Qin Yin nodded. After bidding farewell to Xiao Qi Hong, Yu Yuan left with Qin Yin. Before long, Qin Yin returned to the Imperial Heaven Gate. As soon as he returned, Royal Yuan immediately contacted Royal Light. Knowing that Qin Yin wants to follow him, Imperial Light is very happy. He excitedly flew over. Just like that, Qin Yin was considered the first batch of disciples to enter the Imperial Heaven sect with a different surname. Many of the ancient Yu clansmen had already become disciples of the Yuqian sect, but not all the youths in the clan could join. Even for the ancient Yu clansmen, the Yuqian sect would conduct a strict test. After Qin Yin became a disciple of the Imperial Heaven Gate, the news quickly spread. The entire Divine Desolate knows that the young Divine King is already a disciple of the Imperial Heaven sect. As a result, even the great Divine Lord did not dare to cause trouble for Qin Yin. The Yu ancient clan was very strong among the heaven-creating ancient clans. Moreover, their Yu heavenly talisman was very strong. This was something that the other heaven-creating ancient clans didn't have. Qin Yin was currently at the east side of the Imperial Heaven Gates inner region. He and the other disciples had a small building here, so there was plenty of personal space. Ling Taiyin chose a pretty strong instructor who was at the 5th level of the Divine Space Realm. And Qin Yin did not ask Elder Yuguang what his cultivation level is. In short, he is definitely stronger than those instructors. Yu Luan Hui's instructor was Yu Qi. Qin Yin also contacted Yu Luan Hui. They were all new disciples of the Imperial Sky sect and would enter the Nine Sun sacred ground together in the future. Qin Yin wanted to contact Xiao Yuelan and tell her that he has become a disciple of the Imperial Heaven sect, but he could not contact her. He suspects that Xiao Yuelan has already entered the Nine Sun sacred land. Yuelan shouldn't be much stronger than me. If I step into the 1st level of the Divine Space Realm, my Divine Space power will definitely increase by a lot. Qin Yin is now a disciple of the Imperial Heaven sect, so he can also break through and step into the 1st level of the Divine Space Realm. Qin Yin took out the Divine King Heavenly Seal in his small building's secret room. Taisher said that if he uses the Divine King Heavenly Seal to break through, Divine Space power can erupt even more. First fill up the Divine Space power, and then use it to the extreme. Taisher said. Qin Yin took out a small bottle. This is a divine pill given to him by Elder Yuguang. It is called Space Returning Divine Pill. Eating one can replenish 50 Divine Space power. Qin Yin still lacks 200 Divine Space power to replenish, so he only needs to eat 4 pills. If he uses the Divine King Heavenly Seal to absorb the Divine Space Golden Stones, he would need 200 million Divine Space Golden Stones. Elder Yuguang said that one Space Returning Divine pill only costs 20 million. If he eats 4, it would be less than 100 million. Of course, this kind of Space Returning Divine pill is not eaten normally. It is eaten when he goes out to fight and urgently needs to replenish Divine Space power. Qin Yin can't wait to break through. Moreover, he wants to give it a try and see the effect of the Space Returning Divine pill. Qin Yin took out 4 pills and ate them. His Divine Space power is recovering bit by bit. It seems a bit slow. Qin Yin frowned. If he used the Divine King Heavenly Seal to absorb the Divine Space Golden Stones, it would only take an instant. Although the Space Returning Divine pill is a bit slow, it is still not bad. If he used the natural recovery method, he would need to go into seclusion for half a day. Qin Yin previously thought that the more Divine Space power he had, the longer the recovery time would be, but that is not the case. As the Divine Space in his body continuously increases, his recovery speed also becomes very fast. Generally speaking, he can recover 10% in 2 hours and completely recover in 20 hours. And Qin Yin is much faster than others. He can recover 10% in an hour. After Qin Yun's divine space power is full, he lies on the bed and places the divine King Heavenly Seal on his heart. Qin Yun, I want to use at least 2 billion divine space golden stones to attack your divine space. This way, you can erupt with an even higher upper limit of divine space power. Taisher said, What? Why do you need so much? Qin Yun cried out in alarm because he only has 2 billion divine space golden stones. If he uses 2 billion, he will only have a few 100 million left. Believe me, this 2 billion is definitely worth it. Taisher said, All right, let's begin. Qin Yun thought that since it has come to this, 2 billion it is. The divine King Heavenly Seal suddenly trembled slightly. Qin Yun felt his heart becoming hot. It's about to begin. There won't be any pain. Taisher's voice came over, comforting the somewhat nervous Qin Yun. After all, he is about to break through. Qin Yun is very excited and also a bit nervous. Qin Yun closed his eyes. He can feel the divine space in his body slowly pulsating. After stepping into the first level of divine space realm, the divine space in his body will pulsate weakly, just like a heart. Has it begun? Qin Yun thought in his heart. Along with his heart becoming hotter and hotter, he can also feel the divine space power in his body swelling up. The divine space power in his body is becoming stronger. After becoming stronger, it will spurt out a kind of energy. This is something that did not exist before. Qin Yun can feel that when the divine space power is flowing through his body, it makes his flesh and blood feel a kind of tight feeling. This is mainly because his flesh and blood and bones have not adapted to this kind of suddenly becoming stronger divine space power. Success! The upper limit of your divine space power has increased by a lot. Moreover, your divine space power already has a nucleus. You are now at the first level of divine space realm. Taisher said. Qin Yun promptly took out the divine mirror of primal, beginning to check. He can't wait to see what the upper limit of his divine space power is. Chapter 2848. Qin Yun looked at the number displayed by the divine mirror and grinned in satisfaction. The upper limit is 380. Very good. Qin Yun said with a smile. He only has 80 divine cosmos power left. Breaking through consumes a lot of it. Those 2 billion divine cosmos golden stones were well spent, but Qin Yun still doesn't know how it was used up. After all, it was 2 billion divine cosmos golden stones, and it was used up in such a short time. This made him very surprised. You are now at the first tier of the divine space realm. When your divine space energy is unable to increase anymore, it means that you will have to make a breakthrough and step into the second tier of the divine space realm. As for when that will be, I am not sure. Taisher said, under normal circumstances, many people can no longer increase after reaching 500 divine cosmos power and will have to break through to second level. And Qin Yun definitely has more than 500. After all, before he entered first level, he already had 300. Forget it. I will go find Elder Yu Guang now. Qin Yun took a bath and then contacted Yu Guang with a magic mirror. Yu Guang is still in the Imperial Heaven sect. He told Qin Yun before that if he breaks through, he can go find him. Qin Yun immediately left the disciples' dormitory area and went to Elder and Instructor's residence. It is not far. Elder and Instructor's residence is also a building, but they are a bit bigger than disciples. Qin Yun arrived at Yu Guang's stone building. It looks like it has 3 floors from the outside and 2 floors underground. Yu Guang knows that Qin Yun has arrived and directly opened the door to let him in. Elder, I broke through. Guess how much divine cosmos power I have? Qin Yun said with a smile. At least 350. Yu Guang opened the door and sensed that Qin Yun's divine cosmos power is not weak, is divine cosmos power with nucleus. 380. Qin Yun said with mischievous smile. How can it erupt so much? Yu Guang is very experienced in divine cosmos realm cultivation, but he has never encountered a situation like Qin Yun's. Qin Yun said with a smile, I also don't know. Maybe it's because my constitution is different from others. Yu Guang still doesn't believe it. He took out some tools to test and believed Qin Yun. In the hall, Qin Yun looked at the white-robed, bald old man, rubbed his hands, and asked, "Elder, I've stepped into the first tier of the divine space realm. Don't tell me there's no reward or something." "Of course." Imperial Light patted his bald head, took out a bottle of pills, and handed it to Qin Yun. He said with a smile, "This is Great Universe Divine Pill." "Ah, what's the difference between this and the Space Returning Divine Pill from before?" Qin Yun hurriedly took it. He was in dire need of such items. He did not have many Divine Universe Golden Stones on hand, so he could not rely on a large number of Divine Universe Golden Stones to make a crazy breakthrough in his cultivation. Especially when it came to replenishing his Divine Cosmos power, he didn't need the Divine Cosmos Goldstones to quickly replenish it. The bottle of Space Returning Divine Pills I gave you before can only replenish 50 Divine Space Force per pill. One Great Universe Divine Pill can replenish 100 Divine Space Force, and the speed must be even faster. Imperial Light warned, "Don't eat it carelessly. Only eat it when you are in urgent need." Qin Yun opened the bottle cap. There were only 10 pills inside. "If I were to buy it with Divine Universe Goldstones, how much would it cost?" asked Qin Yun. "It requires 80 million Divine Universe Goldstones for one pellet. This Great Returning Space Divine Pellet is only suitable for those of the first, second, and third level of Divine Universe Goldstones, because it can only restore 100 Divine Universe Force each time." Imperial Light said. "There are even more," Qin Yun said in shock. "What kind of pill is that?" "Great Returning Space Divine Pill. It can restore 500 Divine Universe Force each time. The price is very high. They're not usually sold." Imperial Light said with a smile. "Don't think about this kind of thing now. Wait until you step into the 4th level of Divine Universe Realm. Then you will need to use Great Returning Space Divine Pill." "Elder, what is your current cultivation level?" Qin Yun asked curiously. "I am at the 7th level of Divine Universe Realm, Secmaster, and we are both at the 7th level of Divine Universe Realm. Don't think that we are very strong just because we are at the 7th level of Divine Universe Realm. After entering 9 Sun Holy Ground, we can still lose our lives at any time." Qin Yun put away the bottle of pills and asked again, "After I step into the 1st level of Divine Universe Realm, my Divine Universe Force limit is 380. Then how high do I need to be to break through to the 2nd level of Divine Universe Realm?" "This, I'm not too sure, because I have never met a monster like you." Imperial Light laughed a few times and said, "But generally, it is your Divine Universe Force limit after you step into the 1st level of Divine Universe Realm, plus 400 or 450. Some people need 500 more. So I need more than 800 to step into the 2nd level of Divine Universe Realm. Is this good or bad?" Qin Yun only feels that this way he will be slower than others. "Of course it is good. This means that at the same stage, your Divine Universe Force will be higher than others by a lot. Don't think that this little bit of Divine Universe Force is useless. It will be hard to break through later stage. If you want to compare who is stronger, look at the difference in Divine Universe Force." While speaking, Imperial Light took out a book and threw it to Qin Yun and said, "This is my fighting god technique. Study it yourself first. If there's anything you don't understand, come ask me." "Many thanks, Elder." After receiving the fighting god technique, Qin Yun promptly expressed his thanks. "No need to be polite. This is what I should do. Of course, I won't give it to you for free. Next, you need to fight for it yourself." Imperial Light's expression suddenly became serious. "Fight for it? Do you want to go to 9 Sun Holy Ground to kill enemies?" Qin Yun hastily asked. "Of course not. With your current strength, you won't even be able to deliver food." Imperial Light shook his head and said, "Next, you will have to compete with all kinds of bloodline descendants of heaven-opening ancient clan." "Do I have to fight?" Qin Yun is somewhat startled. He naturally knows what bloodline descendants are. They're people who have bloodline heavenly rune. Moreover, they're 2nd or 3rd generation bloodline heavenly rune. "That's right. But don't worry, whether it is you or them, all of you can take a beating. Even if you are beaten to death, no one will come to cause trouble for you." Your first step is to compete with the bloodline descendants of our ancient clan. Imperial Light said. No problem. I will certainly do my best. Chinya nodded and said, Do you know why we became sect masters and elders? When Yu Guang spoke of this matter, a trace of sorrow flashed past his resolute and old eyes. Qin Yin shook his head. Because our descendants are all dead, killed by those foreign beings. We are all single. We will nurture disciples with foreign surname, and then pass on our lifetime's worth of knowledge to them. Imperial Light's entire person seems to have aged a bit. Qin Yin now understands and nodded his head. Imperial Light said again, As long as you work hard enough, the higher-ups of Heaven-Opening Ancient Clan will give you good resources. They also need geniuses from outside to stimulate the young and vigorous geniuses of the clan. Only letting the geniuses of the clan know that the foreign beings are very strong is not enough. Because they are still in their growth stage, they cannot directly face those dangerous foreign beings. At this time, they need to bring in foreign geniuses to compete with them, make them feel nervous, and stimulate them to work hard. Chapter 28:49. The youngsters who return from the Outerverse are working very hard to increase their strength. What worries the heavens-splitting ancient clans elders the most are the young geniuses who stand aloof from worldly affairs. Although they have powerful bloodline, heavenly rune inheritances, they don't know the dangers of the Outerverse. If they enter the Nine Suns' sacred ground and remain arrogant and complacent, they will most likely die inside. That's why the heaven-splitting ancient clans' elders need geniuses from the outside to join them. On one hand, it's to nurture powerful warriors. On the other hand, it's a cruel competition to stimulate the growth of their geniuses. Elder, do you have bloodline heavenly rune? Qin Yin asked about this rather secretive matter. Yes, I have a second-generation bloodline heavenly rune. The third and fourth generation are even stronger. Imperial Light said. The second-generation heavenly patterns on our bodies can evolve into the third or even the fourth generation. This can also be evolved. Qin Yin has many bloodline heavenly rune boxes, but he still hasn't figured out the inheritance method of bloodline heavenly rune. It can be evolved, but the conditions are very harsh. We need a third-generation bloodline heavenly rune possessor to guide us. The third-generation bloodline heavenly rune possessor must first be of the same origin as us. Then they must be strong enough and have a deep understanding of bloodline heavenly rune. Imperial Guang said helplessly. Then are there any examples of successful evolution? Qin Yun asked. Our Yu family doesn't, but the Heavenly Moon Ancient Clan and Shao family do. The main problem is that our third-generation bloodline heavenly rune possessors haven't matured yet. Their talent is not good enough, and many of them died. Qin Yin suddenly recalled Yu Yao Yao. He suspected that she might have a third-generation bloodline heavenly rune in her body. Then what about Yao Yao? Does she have a third-generation bloodline heavenly rune? Qin Yun asked. Correct. Moreover, her talent is very high. She might be able to help us second-generation bloodline heavenly rune become third-generation. At that time, our strength will increase by a lot. Imperial Guang said excitedly. Qin Yin finally understood why the Imperial Demon was so highly regarded. It was because of this reason. Not only Yao Yao, anyone with a third-generation bloodline heavenly rune is highly regarded. Imperial Light said. Then what about my bloodline heavenly rune box? Are you interested? Asked Qin Yun with a smile. I'm not interested. To us, that is an inauspicious item. If one's fate is not strong enough, whoever touches it will be unlucky. Only you can live well until now. Royal Light repeatedly shook his head and said, Don't take it out. I don't want to see this kind of thing. Qin Yun was very surprised that the heaven-splitting clan members who had returned from the Outerverse were so afraid of the Bloodline Heavenly Pattern Box. All right, go back and take a look at the Universe Explosion Divine technique I gave you. If you feel that it's not suitable, I'll help you find other Battle Divine techniques. Imperial Light smiled and said, I also have some matters to attend to. I'm preparing to bring people into the Nine Sun Sacred Ground. All right, Qin Yun nodded. I will return in 3 days. If I don't return, don't wait for me. If something happens to me, Sect Master will inform you. Elder Yuguang patted Qin Yun's shoulder. Elder, you will definitely come back, Qin Yun said with smile. Elder Yuguang did not say anything and sent Qin Yun out. After Qin Yun left, he immediately returned to his residence. He entered the small building and took out the Universe Explosion Divine Technique. Qin Yun handed over the Yu clan Heavenly Talisman. Xiao Qihong gave him to Taisher to study. Taisher will organize it and then impart it to Qin Yun through the Divine King Heavenly Seal. Qin Yun looked at the Universe Explosion Divine Technique. After reading a few pages, he became very happy because this Universe Explosion Divine Technique is very suitable for him. Universe Explosion Divine Technique can release divine cosmos power in an explosive manner. This technique has very high requirements for the body. Without a strong enough body, when this kind of explosive divine cosmos power surges out from the divine cosmos, it will definitely tear the body apart. The divine cosmos power inside the divine cosmos inside the body is like many spheres. Each sphere has a nucleus. The cosmic explosion divine art causes the nucleus to become irritable, and after the nucleus becomes irritable, it will be able to release an even stronger divine space force. Qin Yun only looked at the first layer, and it is also the most basic. As for the second layer, it can only be used when the divine cosmos power has 2 nuclei. As long as he can master the first layer, the rest will become very easy. Next, Qin Yun began to rest and let his divine cosmos power recover to its peak. Only then can he start practicing. After recovering to its peak, it is already nighttime. Qin Yun is in the underground chamber. He is using the Universe Explosion Divine Technique's method to activate the divine cosmos power. He first released the divine mirror of primordial, beginning to test the eruption of his divine cosmos power. This way, he can see the results of his practice. Qin Yun controlled a divine cosmos particle from the divine cosmos in his body to come out. When it comes out, he followed the divine technique's mantra. When the divine cosmos particle came out, it exploded and transformed into even stronger divine cosmos power that surged out from his finger. Old brother Taisher, did my divine cosmos power change? Qin Yun looked at his finger. A bit stronger, but it wasn't obvious. You didn't grasp the timing of the explosion, causing the divine cosmos power produced by the divine cosmos nucleus to be absorbed by your body. You have to restrain your body from absorbing the divine cosmos power. Taisher said, Qin Yun can only continue practicing. This indeed needs to be tried many times before he can master it. Every time Qin Yun practiced, he would use a divine cosmos particle. After practicing for more than 300 times, he was finally able to erupt with twice the divine cosmos power. And the exploding universe divine technique's first layer says that it can at most increase by 2 times. Qin Yun can increase the divine cosmos power by 2 times. In other words, if he uses 100 divine cosmos power, it can become 200. Although the other battle god arts could also do it, the universe explosion god art had a very strange aspect, and that was that it could stack with his battle god art. It could use the universe explosion god art to activate the divine universe power as a foundation and multiply it. For example, when Qin Yun used the heaven-piercing 9 fingers before, he could erupt from 200 divine cosmos power to 300. If he used the exploding universe divine technique, it would become 400 divine cosmos power, and then use piercing heaven, it would become 600 divine cosmos power. This is something other battle god techniques don't have. Of course, this has a very big drawback. If the body is not strong enough, it can't withstand the explosive divine cosmos power that far surpasses the body. Elder Yuguang is tall and sturdy. He is a very valiant old man. In order to make his body very strong, he doesn't even want his hair. He has undergone extreme tempering of his scalp. Just thinking about it makes Qin Yun feel how terrifying the exploding universe divine technique is. If the body is not strong enough, then superimposing it is simply suicide. Qin Yun can now be considered to have grasped the initial stage of the exploding universe divine technique. He only has a few tens of divine cosmos power left. He plans to rest and recover fully before using more divine cosmos power and superimposing other divine technique martial skills to test their might. Chapter 2850. Early in the morning, the six myriad realms' divine suns released a strong light, forming a super dome that enveloped the nine-sun sacred land. Although the nine-sun sacred land, which occupied most of the divine desolate land, was sealed, the powerful foreign creatures inside were still thinking of ways to rush out. After Qin Yun got up, he went to the roof. The small building was very short, but standing on the roof, he could see the nine-sun sacred land shrouded in golden light. He could feel the powerful divine power aura of the six myriad realms' divine suns gushing out fiercely. Brother Taisher, where do you think the miracle brought by the appearance of the sixth divine sun is? Qin Yun had been thinking about this matter. Before you have enough strength, I won't guide you. Also, I only know a general direction. I can't be sure where it is exactly. Taisher replied. Qin Yun had just stepped into the first level of the divine space realm and felt that his strength was not weak. As long as he did not enter the nine-sun sacred land, he was not afraid of the divine desolate land. Hearing Taisher's words, he suddenly felt that the miracle brought by the sixth divine sun was very likely in the nine-sun sacred land. Qin Yun looked at the sixth divine sun for a while and was about to return to the underground training room to cultivate when he suddenly sensed someone nearby. After he turned around, he saw a person wearing a black mask. This person was wearing a black robe, and his feet were floating off the ground. Gas gushed out from under the black robe, causing the black robe to flutter. It looked very imposing. The black robe's ghost mask was very frightening, especially where the two eyeballs were. There were two blood-red eyeballs that were filled with blood vessels. Qin Yun, I am the evil corpse king. I have come to take revenge on you. Ha ha ha. You never thought that I would be able to enter the Imperial Heaven sect, right? As long as you shout for mercy and be willing to be my little brother, you will be able to escape today. The black-robed man laughed loudly, and waves of black wind surged out from his body. Qin Yun's expression was calm and without any ripples. He said indifferently, Escape? Do you think you are the Heavenly Emperor? That's right. I'm the Heavenly Emperor. Quickly call me Big Brother. The black-robed man raised his hand, holding a black long sword. Qin Yun rolled his eyes and then used the divine mirror of primal beginning to shine on the black-robed man, using the mirror's ability, star-fixing divine art. As Qin Yun's strength increases, he can use the star-fixing divine art to freeze people for a longer period of time. After the black-robed man was frozen, Qin Yun immediately went over and took off the mask. He saw a beautiful woman with a face full of hidden bitterness under the mask. Yume, you sure know how to act. Have you seen the evil corpse king before? Qin Yun pinched Xiao Yume's face and said with a mischievous smile. Xiao Yume finally came out of ancestral God Sunday. She is still the same as before. She loves to play pranks. The only difference was that Qin Yun felt that her face was a bit rounder than before. He liked it very much, because he already likes to pinch Xiao Yume's face. Now that her face is round and plump, pinching it feels even better. Brother, when did you see through it? I clearly acted very well. Xiao Yume pouted her small mouth, thinking about where she exposed a flaw. Qin Yun kneaded Xiao Yume's face a few times with both hands. He is still unwilling to stop. He said with smile, After entering the ancestral God-Son's inner core, your face has become round. Pinching is even better. Brother, quickly tell me, how did you see through me? Xiao Yume believes that her disguise is very perfect. She charmingly smiled and lightly pounded Qin Yun's chest. Because I had a kind of intuition that you came. Moreover, my hand suddenly had a kind of feeling I really want to pinch your face. Qin Yun said with laugh. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Xiao Yume leaned on Qin Yun's bosom and hugged him. Qin Yun hugged Xiao Yume, kissed her forehead, and said with smile, Yume, did you meet the evil corpse king? That little evil corpse king was wandering around outside Ancestral God Sunday. After I came out, he said that he wanted to eat me. Then I beat him up like a dog. Xiao Yuanmei giggled and said, "Later I heard that he hated you to death. After knowing our relationship, he vomited blood in anger. Then what about this guy? We can't let him go. He is a scourge," Qin Yin said with frown. "Of course I know he is a scourge. Elder sister told me that back then you joined hands with great difficulty to get rid of this guy's body, but you were not able to completely exterminate him." Xiao Yuanmei spoke and took out her small mirror. Her mirror and Qin Yun's mirror are very similar, because Qin Yun's Gemini treasure mirror was made based on Xiao Yuanmei's mirror. "Your small mirror has a storage space inside?" Qin Yun stretched out his neck and looked at her blue mirror. Xiao Yuanmei shook her mirror, then pointed it at the ground and shot out a blue light. He saw a very small black paparazzi jumping up and down on the ground, howling loudly. This black puppy is very cute, but the evil aura on its body is very dense. Qin Yun sensed the dense, evil aura and immediately determined that this is the evil corpse king. Xiao Yuanmei said that she could beat the evil corpse king up like a dog in a few moves. He did not expect that she would really beat the evil corpse king up like a dog. Qin Yin naturally knows that Xiao Yuanmei has mastered a transformation technique. Not only she can transform herself, she can also transform other people. She often thought of turning Qin Yin into a little girl. Moreover, she even turned Qin Yin into a little youth, little Baldy, and so on. That evil corpse king was turned into a puppy by her, and even subdued. I did not expect that the evil corpse king would turn into a puppy. Qin Yin lifted the puppy up and said with loud laugh, "Yuanmei, you are truly something. Brother, I want to go to Xiao ancient clan together with elder sister. Don't worry, we will be outside Nine Sun holy ground. We will be able to meet each other frequently. Later we can also enter Nine Sun holy ground and join hands to kill enemies," Xiao Yuanmei said with smile. Qin Yin used the primal beginning divine mirror to look at Xiao Yuanmei, but he cannot see how much divine cosmos power she has. "Yuanmei, is this the 9 divine soul on your wrist?" Qin Yin suddenly saw a white bracelet on Xiao Yuanmei's wrist. "Indeed, Sister Kiru gave it to me. She copied it," Xiao Yuanmei said with smile. "She also said that she wants me to cooperate with you to cultivate my ability. We will talk about this later. First go to Xiao Ancient Clan. They have many delicious divine pills. You must remember them well." Qin Yun spoke, took out 2 dragon peaches that he secretly hid, and gave them to Xiao Yuanmei. "Here, these are dragon peaches. They are very delicious. Yang Yang and Mo love them the most. They don't even know that I hid them." Qin Yin lowered his voice and said with smile, "Thank you, old brother." Xiao Yuanmei sweetly ate one. It is indeed very delicious, causing her to praise it unceasingly. "All right, you go find Wellon first. We will meet again very soon." Qin Yun caressed Xiao Yuanmei's face. Xiao Yuanmei nodded and then disappeared without a trace. It is unknown what ability she used. "Old brother Taisher, how did Yuanmei leave? Did she travel through space?" Qin Yun asked. Chapter 28:51. Qin Yun is not sure whether or not Xiao Yuanmei used spatial power because he did not sense any spatial fluctuation. His mastery of space force wasn't bad, so it was impossible for him not to sense the spatial fluctuations. He thought that Xiao Yuanmei came to the Imperial Heaven sect to sneak in. After all, she can change into someone else's appearance and is so good at deceiving people. Sneaking in must be very easy. And now that he saw Xiao Yuanmei suddenly disappear, it is very likely that she used this method to enter. It's not the power of space. It seems to be a very brilliant concealment technique that allows one to merge with the sunlight. Taisher said. Qin Yin looked at the divine mirror of primordial beginning and saw a speck of light rapidly moving. It is Xiao Yuanmei's movement trajectory. This little girl has indeed become a lot stronger after running out of Ancestral God Sun. Qin Yin is secretly happy. After all, Xiao Yuanmei has become stronger. Xiao Yuanmei becoming so strong is very normal. because in the 9 Sun Divine Maidens ranking, this mischievous little girl is the big sister. Qin Yun returned to the basement to continue cultivating. Seeing how strong Xiao Yuanmei has become, he is not willing to fall behind. Old brother Taishu, how much divine cosmos power do you think my current body can withstand? Asked Qin Yun. 700 shouldn't be a problem. Taishu said, your divine universe golden tendons still have a lot of room for improvement. You can still temper it further. Through the divine universe goldstone? Qin Yun could not help but sigh when he realized that he needed the divine universe goldstone. Right now, he did not have a way to quickly obtain divine universe goldstones. Yes, while the divine universe golden tendons are powerful, they can also increase the upper limit of the divine universe energy. Taishu said, right now, if you want to raise the upper limit of your divine cosmos power, you have to consume a certain amount of divine cosmos power to strengthen the divine cosmos in your body. As for how much, I'm not sure. Before stepping into the first tier of the divine space realm, the amount of divine space force required was not much. Only 20 points were needed to increase the upper limit of the divine space force by 1 point. Now that he had stepped into the first tier of the divine space realm, he needed to test it out in order to be sure. Let's give it a try at 50 points first. Right now, his divine cosmos force was 380, completely maxed out. It was enough for him to test it out. Out in the training room, Qin Yun went through many tests. He actually needed to expend 200 divine cosmos forces to strengthen the divine cosmos in his body and raise the upper limit of 1 divine cosmos force. Why are there so many? Before it was only 20, but now it's 200. Qin Yun's face turned green. One had to know that if he used the Divine King Heavenly Seal to replenish 200 Divine Universe power, he would need 200 million Divine Universe Goldstones. Using 100 million to increase the upper limit of 1 point of Divine Cosmos Force was just too extravagant. Qin Yun immediately dispelled this thought. If he continued spending like this, no matter how many Divine Universe medals he had, it wouldn't be enough. If he used the natural replenishment method to replenish 200 points of Divine Space Force, it would still take 4 to 6 hours. He could increase his upper limit by 1 point every 6 hours. In a day, he could increase his upper limit by 4 points without doing anything but cultivating. This was not considered slow, but it was impossible for him to do nothing. If he were to sit here all day cultivating and raise the upper limit of his divine cosmic force, that would take up a lot of time. Old brother Taishu, we can't go on like this. Our cultivation speed is too slow. Qin Yun could only ask Taishu for help. The Divine King Heavenly Seal can evolve. If it successfully evolves, then the amount of Divine Universe Gold Stones needed to replenish the power of the Divine Universe will be greatly reduced. Grand Prime said again, what? Then why didn't you tell me earlier? How does the Godly King Heavenly Seal evolve? Qin Yun asked in pleasant surprise. It requires a large amount of Divine Universe Gold Stones. About 10 billion. Taishu's voice transmitted over, causing Qin Yun to rejoice for nothing. Qin Yun suddenly felt that it was not the Godly King Heavenly Seal that needed Divine Universe Goldstones, but Taishu that needed it. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was amiss. Taishu might be thinking of a way to obtain Divine Universe Goldstones from him, but he didn't know what he wanted to do. No, what he could be sure of was that Taishu would not harm him. He was just doing some things behind his back. Qin Yun did not expose this matter because Taishu had indeed helped him a lot. Now, he was even helping him read books. I can't borrow it from big sister Shang Yun. She has many little sisters to raise. Qin Yun shook his head. He still had some divine space returning pills, but they were urgently needed and they were also very hard to buy. Especially now, they were very out of stock. I have a way to let you earn Divine Universe Gold Stones faster. Taishu suddenly said, what way? Old brother Taishu, don't hide it. Qin Yun hurriedly said with smile, if I can obtain a large amount of Divine Universe Gold Stones, it will be good for you, good for me, and good for everyone. Refining. Currently, we are lacking divine weapons and divine tools made from bloodline heavenly rune materials. If you can refine them, selling them for several hundred million won't be a problem. You have Myriad Heaven Divine Saber and Bloodline Heavenly Rune Box. You don't need these things. Taisher said. Qin Yun indeed has Bloodline Heavenly Rune materials. They are evil Corpse King scales. But Dragon Peach has too few seeds. It is basically impossible to make anything. Weapons made from Bloodline Heavenly Rune materials might have a miraculous effect on outer space life forms. You can go ask the Imperial Heaven Sect Master. Taisher said again. Qin Yun immediately took out the Devil Mirror and contacted Yu Yuan. Yu Yuan is the Imperial Heaven Sect Master. Although he has to enter Nine Sun Holy Ground, he doesn't need to go there frequently because he still has to take care of Imperial Heaven Sect's trivial matters. Sect Master. Divine weapons made from Bloodline Heavenly Rune materials will have a good effect on outer space life forms? Qin Yun asked. Of course. People with Bloodline Heavenly Rune have great destructive power against outer space life forms. If it's a material, it will be very good. Do you have it? Yu Yuan promptly asked. If it is made into a weapon, how much can it be sold for? Qin Yun also did not reply. I will have to take a look to see the quality of the materials, as well as the strength of the weapon, etc. However, it should be worth at least 200 to 300 million Divine Universe Golden Stones. Yu Yuan said with smile. Qin Yun, do you have materials? If you want to make a move, I will take it. I have a bit, but I want to make it into a divine tool. That way I can sell it for a bit more. Qin Yun said. You can already refine this kind of material. This requires a very strong Bloodline Heavenly Rune flame. Yu Yuan said in amazement. Qin Yun can release this kind of flame through Divine King Heavenly Seal, so it is not difficult. I don't know, but it should be possible. Qin Yun said this, but he is very confident that he can make it. I will go find you. We will talk when we meet. Yu Yuan did not expect that Qin Yun can actually refine this kind of material, so he wants to see it with his own eyes. Evil Corpse King scales are not a good material. Qin Yun also does not expect to sell it for a good price. If it is refined into a divine tool and matched with good runes, the price will increase by a lot. Yu Yuan quickly arrived at Qin Yun's residence. They were not far from each other. Qin Yun is waiting for Yu Yuan in the living room. There are a few palm-sized black scales on the table. This is indeed a Bloodline Heavenly Rune material, but it is very weak. But it can still be sold for a good price. Do you want to sell it? Yu Yuan said with frown. Chapter 2852. Qin Yun curled his lips and said, Sect Master, first you said my Heavenly Rune materials are too poor, and then you said they can be sold for a good price. Isn't this contradictory? He can tell with a glance that Yu Yuan wants to lower the price. It means that his materials have some value. Yu Yuan said with smile. Qin Yun, I will tell you the truth. Your materials are very poor. They cannot be used to refine tools. You still need to add other Heavenly Rune materials. How about this? I will take 2 million Divine Universe Golden Stones. Qin Yun took out 5 scales. Yu Yuan wants to buy them for 2 million. This price is very low. These 5 scales of the Evil Corpse King weighed dozens of kilograms, enough to refine a relatively small divine armament. Only 2 million? If it is refined into divine weapon, it will be worth at least 200 million, right? Qin Yun said with smile. Sect Master, I don't want to sell them. I want to refine tools. Yu Yuan promptly waved his hand and said with smile, Little brother, I know that you are very good at refining tools with inscription, but you might not be good at refining Heavenly Rune materials. You don't know, not only the process is very complicated, it is also very troublesome to process them. I know. Qin Yun refined Dragon Peach Pit before. It is indeed very difficult to process. At that time, his condition was very limited. His strength was also far from what it is now, but he could still process Peach Pit. There is no need to mention now. Now that he has fused Divine King Heavenly Seal with Grand Prime, he has a small universe inside his body. Plus, he has 400 Divine Cosmos power. It will be very easy for him to process materials. If you process these materials, there won't be much left. You won't be able to refine Divine Weapon. You might as well sell them to me. Yu Yuan said with smile. How about this? Sell them to me for 5 million. Qin Yin can see that Yu Yuan wants these materials very much. Heavenly rune materials are very rare. 10 million. Qin Yin doesn't want to suffer a loss. He also wants to sell them to Yu Yuan. All right, 10 million it is. Yu Yuan took out his Divine Universe Gold card and said, I will transfer the money to you. Qin Yin has an Imperial Heaven Sect Disciple Identity card. It is also a Ancient Clan's Golden Stone branch card. It can be used to transfer Divine Universe Golden Stones. 10 million was very little to Qin Yin, and it was nothing to Yu Yuan. However, the two of them still wanted to haggle over every ounce. It was obvious that they were people who shared the same rotten tastes. Sect Master, where do we have more heavenly pattern materials? How do you usually obtain large amounts? Asked Qin Yin. I need a bloodline heavenly pattern. The process is rather complicated. Their bones can be used to refine bloodline heavenly rune materials. Yu Yuan said as he put away the scales. If the bones of extraterrestrial life forms could be refined into materials for bloodline heavenly patterns, it meant that the extraterrestrial life forms were also related to bloodline heavenly patterns. How can an alien have bloodline heavenly rune? Qin Yin said in amazement. This is also what puzzled us, which is why we entered the Outerverse all those years ago. Yu Yuan sighed. We've been in the Outerverse for so many years, but we still haven't figured out what's going on. All we know is that they have very powerful bloodline heavenly patterns. Qin Yin suspected that the Outerverse was formed by the bloodline heavenly pattern box, just like how there was a pocket universe inside the Grand Prime. Enough talk. I will go back first. Yu Yuan quickly left after obtaining the materials. Qin Yin confirmed from Yu Yuan that the heavenly pattern materials have great destructive power against the extraterrestrial life forms. He hastily went into the basement and took out 5 evil corpse king scales. Then he took out the heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron and said, Old brother Taisher, can a heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron endure this kind of flame? With the help of divine king heavenly seal, it won't be a problem. First, we need to process the materials and remove the impurities. Then we need to obtain a pure heavenly pattern material. Only then can we refine a divine weapon. Sect Master said that after processing, there won't be much left. Is that right? Qin Yin was worried that 5 pieces would not be enough, but Taisher said it was enough. Taisher said, that's because their flame is not strong enough. They can't completely refine the materials. That's why they can't separate the impurities from the materials, so they can only discard them. Qin Yin said with smile. In that case, old brother Taisher, you have a very good method. Of course, but we need divine king heavenly seal to borrow the power of a bloodline heavenly pattern box. Taisher said, borrow the power of a bloodline heavenly pattern box? Which one? Qin Yin is somewhat doubtful, because Taisher did not say anything about devouring. Logically speaking, every bloodline heavenly pattern box has the ability to condense bloodline heavenly pattern flame. We need to try them one by one to know which one is suitable to refine the evil corpse king scales. Qin Yin took out all the bloodline heavenly pattern boxes in his hand. There are a total of 7 boxes. He used divine king heavenly seal to seal them one by one. Finally, Taisher said that he wants to use the one from the White Sun Divine Realm, the one that Bai Suxin's father used to have. He shrunk the heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron and placed the scales inside. Then he placed the White Sun bloodline heavenly pattern box under the divine king heavenly seal. The divine king heavenly seal can absorb the White Sun bloodline heavenly pattern box. As Qin Yin poured in his divine cosmos power, the white bloodline heavenly pattern box also spewed out a flame and entered the cauldron. The flame is controlled and floated at the center of the cauldron. As long as it doesn't touch the cauldron's walls, it won't burn the heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron. The scales are now being enveloped by the white flame and are being melted. Moreover, they are overflowing with black mist. Qin Yin can feel that his divine cosmos power is being rapidly depleted. Soon, he only has 50 left. Taisher knows that Qin Yin doesn't have much divine cosmos power left. so he stopped. The flame in the cauldron is still very strong and is enough to continue smelting. If Qin Yun hadn't stepped into the first level of the divine cosmos realm and cultivated the divine universe golden tendons, he probably wouldn't be able to withstand this kind of terrifying flame. The material is quickly smelted. The speed is so fast that Qin Yun is surprised. He rested for half a day. After recovering his divine cosmos power, he continued to forge. He has already obtained a white heavenly pattern material the size of a drill. The color of the heavenly pattern material is related to the color of the flame when smelting. Qin Yun used white flame, so the material produced is also white. This material is worth at least 50 million, right? Qin Yun suddenly felt that selling the 5 scales to Yu Yuan for 10 million was a loss. Next, he began the next step of his work. He used the 9-sun divine hammer to forge the material into a thin white sword. This process is rather difficult. He still needs to continue using the divine king heavenly seal and the white sun bloodline heavenly pattern box to release white flame to soften the heavenly pattern material. Qin Yun doesn't have a lot of materials now, so he can only forge a thin and short sword. This is also for practice. The forging took 3 days. After finishing, Qin Yun began to carve runes. Because this is a cheap item, Qin Yun didn't put much effort into carving runes. He directly used the divine king heavenly seal to imprint on it and bestow the sword with its ability. The ability is also very ordinary. It just makes the sword more sturdy. Chapter 2853. After crafting the sword, Qin Yun waved it a few times and felt that it is very light and weak. It's a bit short and very thin. I wonder if I can sell it for a good price. Qin Yun spent 3 days to make it. The divine cosmos power consumed is not that much. He is very puzzled. It would be great if divine cosmos power could be converted into divine cosmos golden stone, but it is not possible. And divine cosmos golden stone needs to consume a lot of divine cosmos power. It is not worth it. Elder Yuguang has returned. He tried to contact Qin Yun, but Qin Yun said that he is in seclusion, so they did not meet. Elder Yuguang returned 2 days later and immediately left, saying that a passage has appeared. Qin Yun contacted Ling Taiyun and Yu Luanhui. They are now working very hard in seclusion. The disciples who just entered the Imperial Heaven sect are still growing. They don't need to enter 9-sun holy ground to kill enemies or compete with the geniuses of ancient Yu clan. But Qin Yun already found out that the geniuses of ancient Yu clan have arrived at the Imperial Heaven sect. Most of these young geniuses grew up in this cosmos, and those who return from the Outerverse have already entered 9-sun holy ground to kill enemies. It can be said that the geniuses who return from the Outerverse have understood the outside world's life forms since they were young. They knew that when they grew up, they would have to fight against the outside world's life forms to survive. Therefore, most of these returning geniuses are very calm. They only have a bit of arrogance, but they're not very arrogant. Qin Yun is aiming at those returning geniuses. They're the target of his divine weapon. He is not familiar with those geniuses yet. If he starts selling divine weapon now, no one will believe him because Qin Yun has not even seen the outside world's life forms. I can only look for that stingy sect master. Qin Yun thought about it. Only the sect master is easy to communicate with. He can get the sword from him. Moreover, only the sect master is willing to buy the divine weapon he refined. Qin Yun contacted Yu Yuan and found out that he just returned from 9-sun holy ground. Sect master, I have something to sell. Help me appraise the price. I am afraid of being cheated by others. Qin Yun did not directly say that he wants to sell it to Yu Yuan. You have heavenly rune material? Just give it to me. Yu Yuan laughed. Could it be that our last cooperation wasn't pleasant? Qin Yun is indeed very unhappy because he feels that he lost several tens of millions. He promptly said with smile, Of course not. This time I made a finished product. It is a sword. I refined it with heavenly rune materials. What? It's only been a few days, and you've already refined it? What good things can come out of it? Yu Yuan was full of doubt, but he also said that he would come over immediately. Soon Yu Yuan arrived. Qin Yun is waiting for him in the hall. Yu Yuan, who had just entered the hall, saw a white light shooting towards him. He could naturally tell that it was a sword, so he suddenly reached out and grabbed the sword. Qin Yun said with smile, "Sect Master, please help me take a look at this sword. This is the first time I am refining a tool with heavenly rune material." When Yu Yuan grabbed the sword, he was quite surprised. According to his experience, he didn't need to look too closely to be sure that the sword was made from pure heavenly pattern materials. Although the sword is not very good, Qin Yin was able to refine it in just a few days. Moreover, he learned it without any teacher. He relied on his own experience. This kind of talent is very rare even in the entire heaven-opening ancient race. Before, Yu Yuan did not believe that Qin Yin was not good at fighting. But now that he saw Qin Yun's proficiency in inscription and tool refining, he truly believes that Qin Yun is an amateur. Yu Yuan poured in divine cosmos power and said with frown, "It's not bad. Not very good, but not very bad either. It's your first time refining such a good thing. It's very rare." He is sincerely praising Qin Yun. "How much can you sell it for?" Qin Yun asked again. "Sect Master, I know that many senior brothers and sisters who just returned from Outerverse have arrived at Imperial Heaven Sect. Can you help me? I want to sell it to them." 150 million, Yu Yuan said with smile. "Just sell it to me." 200 million. Qin Yun instinctively increased the price. 180 million. Yu Yuan is also willing to back down. "All right." Qin Yun nodded his head and agreed to sell the sword to Yu Yuan. Yu Yuan warned repeatedly, "Shao Qin, you better not go around saying that you know how to refine this kind of thing. If Senior Shao knows that you are busy doing this kind of thing, he will be very angry." "I know, low profile, low profile," Qin Yun said with smile. "All right, I will introduce you to some senior brothers and let them guide you." Yu Yuan said with beaming smile, "No, I should introduce you to some senior sisters." Qin Yun promptly waved his hand and said with embarrassed smile, "Sect Master, I'm not that kind of person. Just introduce me to some senior brothers." "Shao Qin, a straightforward person will not resort to insinuations. We all know about the matter between you and Yao Yao. We also know that your wife is Nine-Sun Divine Maiden. You are a man. It's not a big deal. I will introduce you to some pretty good senior sisters. But remember, if you have any good stuff in the future, contact me first." Yu Yuan said with mischievous smile. Yu Yuan finished speaking and ran away. Qin Yun secretly despised this old and frivolous man. He actually thought of him as that kind of person. Senior sisters are also pretty good. Senior sisters from Yu Ancient Clan who came back from Outerverse must be the kind with explosive battle power. I hope they won't be subdued by my charm. Qin Yun thought with a deadpan expression. He began calculating how to use more materials to refine better bloodline, heavenly rune divine weapon. Otherwise, he would have to spend 3 days to exchange for 200 million divine universe golden stones. That would be a great loss. While Qin Yun is planning how to earn more divine universe golden stones in the future, the magic mirror suddenly shook. "It's Yao Yao. She finally came out of seclusion." Qin Yun is very happy. Yu Yao Yao said with smile, "Boss Qin, I will arrive at Imperial Heaven Sect very soon. Don't run around. I will come to find you immediately. I really didn't expect that you would actually join our Yu Ancient Clan's Imperial Heaven Sect. You really have good eyesight. Tell me, is it because of me, Yu Yao Yao, that you joined Imperial Heaven Sect?" "Of course not. I joined Imperial Heaven Sect because of your Yu Clan Heavenly Talisman. It has nothing to do with you." Qin Yun said with smile. "Oh, that's right. How is little Kuan Peng?" "Qin Yun, you're thinking about my Kuan Peng again? I am warning you. Don't even think about abducting my little Kuan Peng. You better forget about it." When Yu Yao Yao heard Qin Yun ask about the Nine-Sun Kuan Peng, she suddenly became vigilant. "Hurry up and come over. I need you to help me with a small matter." Qin Yun now knows that Yu Yao Yao is doing very well. He wants to borrow some divine universe golden stones from this rich woman to help him evolve his divine King Heavenly Seal. He originally wanted to borrow from Ling family, but he felt embarrassed. After all, it is a very large amount. Qin Yun's plan is to sell divine tools to earn some and then borrow some from other places. This way he can gather enough in a short period of time. Chapter 2854. Since Yu Yao Yao was at the Imperial Sky Sect, it meant that she was also going to enter the Nine Suns sacred ground to kill enemies. The ancient Yu clan actually wanted to send a prodigy like her in. Weren't they afraid of accidents? Old brother Taishur, using 10 billion divine universe goldstones to let the godly king heavenly seal evolve. Is that worth it? I'll directly use 10 billion divine universe golden stones to cultivate. Wouldn't that be better? Qinyan suddenly felt worried that he would suffer a loss. If the effects of the divine king heavenly seal's evolution did not reach his expectations, then wouldn't he suffer a great loss? If you use the divine universe goldstones to cultivate, it will only allow you to break through quickly in a short period of time. If you let the godly monarch heavenly seal evolve, it will benefit you in the long run. As for which is more worthwhile, you can choose for yourself. Grand Prime did not say that he had to let the godly monarch heavenly seal evolve. Then, after the godly king heavenly seal evolves, what are the benefits? Qinyan curled his lips and said, "You should know, right? The amount of divine universe metal stones needed to replenish the divine universe power will be greatly reduced. 100,000 divine universe goldstones replenish some divine universe power," answered Grand Prime, allowing Qinyan to clearly understand the abilities of the godly monarch heavenly seal after its evolution. If Qinyan used the divine king heavenly seal to replenish 1 point of divine cosmos power, he would need to consume 1,000,000 divine cosmos goldstones. Replenishing 100 points would cost 100 million. After the God King heavenly seal evolved, he would be able to replenish 100 points. That would be 10 million divine universe golden stones. It was actually 10 times less. Then why didn't you let me evolve the God King heavenly seal earlier? Qinyan recalled that he had previously smashed many divine universe metals into the godly king heavenly seal. It was far more than 10 billion. Just thinking about it made his heart ache. The divine king heavenly seal will only have the opportunity to evolve as your cultivation increases. Only when you step into the first tier of the divine universe realm will you obtain a chance to evolve. Taishur's mechanical voice was filled with coldness. All right. If 10 million can be used to replenish 100 divine cosmos power, then that's pretty good. If Qinyan can truly replenish it, then he doesn't need any space returning divine pill. In the future, when he obtained cosmic returning divine pills, he could sell them directly and exchange them for divine universe golden stones. He could use the godly king heavenly seal to replenish his reserves. That would be even more cost-effective. This made Qinyan eager to evolve the godly monarch heavenly seal. Soon, Yu Yao Yao arrived. It was Yu Yuan who sent her over. This demoness was still the same as before. She had a head full of dazzling bright red hair and a pair of pink eyes. Qinyan thought that she would dress herself up a little more, but he didn't expect her to still look the same. Yu Yao Yao was dressed in a black outfit. She was very beautiful and had a good figure. Otherwise, she would not be able to control her weird outfit. "Qinyan, why are you looking for me?" After Yu Yao Yao bade farewell to Yu Yuan, she hastily entered the house. When Sect Master Yu Yuan brought Imperial Yao Yao over, he winked at Qinyan, frantically hinting at something, and then hastily flew away. Naturally, Yu Yao Yao did not see Yu Yuan's expression. Otherwise, she would have thought of something. "Yao Yao, I'm a bit short on cash. Lend me some divine universe gold stones." Qinyan's face was plastered with a hypocritical smile. "Sure, how much do you want? Say it." Yu Yao Yao also readily agreed. It could be seen that her purse was indeed very fat. 5 billion, Qinyan said with a smile. Yu Yao Yao thought that she had misheard. She frowned and said, "What? How much do you want?" Qinyan said seriously, 5 billion divine universe gold stones. Yu Yao Yao jumped in fright and shouted in low voice, "Qinyan, do you think I am a moving goldstone? How can I have 5 billion divine universe gold stones? I heard that those older generation have high hopes for you. I thought you had struck it rich." Qinyan curled his lips and said, "All right, then how much can you lend me? 500 million. Yu Yao Yao mumbled to herself, "Why do you lack divine universe gold stones so much? I heard that you made a lot of money by selling the mirror for testing. Qin Yun promptly gave her a cigarette and said, I used it all up. In order to break through, I consumed a lot of energy. I don't have that much. I can only lend you 500 million. Yu Yao Yao took a drag, then took out her gold card and transferred 500 million Divine Universe gold stones to Qin Yun. Qin Yun can go to Ancient Yu Clan's goldstone shop to collect it. Thanks. Qin Yun promptly took out a few boxes of King Grade Light cigarette and gave them to Yu Yao Yao. I don't know when you will return it to me. Yu Yao Yao immediately accepted the boxes of cigarettes. From her expression, it seems that she can't get it back. Qin Yun said with a smile, I'm a very honest person. I will definitely return it to you in the future. Qin Yun, how much Divine Universe power do you have now? Yu Yao Yao is very curious. Almost 400. What about you? Qin Yun asked. You already have 400? I heard that before you stepped into first level of Divine Universe realm, you already have more than 200. You just entered Imperial Heaven Sect for a few days. How can you already have 400? Yu Yao Yao opened her pink eyes wide. Qin Yun said with a smile, This is the reason why I lack Divine Universe gold stones. Oh, that's right. How much Divine Universe power do you have? 900. I am now second level Divine Universe realm. I am currently refining Divine Universe golden tendons. I am preparing to enter 9 Sun Sacred Ground. You are first level. You don't need to enter for the time being. Yu Yao Yao flicked the cigarette ash and faintly sighed. When I was in the clan, I heard many things about the Outerverse. I found out that many of my ancestors died tragically. Don't worry, you have young Kuan Peng to protect you. Nothing will happen. Qin Yun said with a smile. Wait until I reach second level Divine Universe realm. Then we will enter together. Oh, that's right. Where is Sister Diexine? I heard she is with you. Yu Yao Yao asked. She is currently cultivating. She also has Bloodline Heavenly Rune. It might be 3rd generation Bloodline Heavenly Rune. Don't go around talking about this. Qin Yun said in low voice. Are you sure it's 3rd generation Bloodline Heavenly Rune? Yu Yao Yao's face is filled with shock. She never knew Ling Daixin had Bloodline Heavenly Rune. Qin Yun is still not sure whether it is 2nd or 3rd generation. In theory, it is 2nd generation, but it might also be 3rd generation because her father has 2nd generation Bloodline Heavenly Rune. Sure, I'm still not sure. Qin Yun said in low voice. What is it? Why are you so nervous about this matter? If she is 3rd generation, then I am also 3rd generation. If we combine, maybe we can evolve to 4th generation. This is what the elders said. I don't know the specifics. Yu Yao Yao said with solemn expression. With 4th generation Bloodline Heavenly Rune, all aspects will be greatly improved. Qin Yun is startled. He asked in low voice. Combine? How? You are both women. Yu Yao Yao rolled her eyes and said, How would I know? In short, there is a way. When Sister Daixin has time, remember to let me see her. Qin Yun nodded and said, All right, I will surely let her see you. All right, I will enter 9 Sun Holy Land. I will come out in about 3 days. Yu Yao Yao said, Yao Yao, help me buy some good Bloodline Heavenly Rune materials. I will give you a good price. Qin Yun suddenly pulled her hand and said in earnest, This is a chance to get rich. You must believe me. I will help you. Yu Yao Yao rather trusts Qin Yun. She also nodded in agreement. Qin Yun sent off Yu Yao Yao and pondered whether or not he should contact Great Elder Ling and borrow some Divine Universe golden stones. Chapter 2855. A complete copy. I will update the latest chapter of the 9 Suns Divine King as soon as possible. The Ling family had a goldstone business. Qin Yun had previously gone to the Ling residence's basement, and there was a large number of Divine Universe goldstones inside. Therefore, he was in urgent need of Divine Universe goldstones, so he wanted to borrow some from Grand Elder Ling. He didn't want to borrow from Great Elder Ling. After all, not only would he be borrowing the Divine Universe golden stones, but he would also owe a debt of gratitude. The Ling family was also doing Qin Yun a favor, so they would definitely lend it to him without hesitation. Qin Yin hesitated for a long time before deciding to borrow some money from Grand Elder Ling. Elder Ling, I'm Qin Yin. I'm a little tight on cash recently. Can I borrow some Divine Universe metal stones from your metal stone merchant? The amount is quite large. I will pay it off as soon as possible. Qin Yin said straightforwardly after contacting Grand Elder Ling. How much do you need? Grand Elder Ling knew that Qin Yin had previously used many Divine Universe gold stones. He didn't expect that not long after, Qin Yin would take it again. He really wanted to know how Qin Yin spent it. Do you have 10 billion? Asked Qin Yin. Great Elder Ling also sucked in a deep breath. 10 billion wasn't a small sum. If it was in the past, he would have been more straightforward. However, the current situation was different, and the Divine Universe golden stones were in short supply. Mr. Qin, it's not that I don't want to lend you money, but I really don't have that much. The Divine Moon clan originally had 100 billion with us, but they have already taken away 80 billion. Great Elder Ling was also in a difficult position as he sighed. Really? When Qin Yin heard this, he knew that the Divine Moon clan is now using large amounts of Divine Universe gold stones to increase their strength. Recently, due to the crisis of the Nine Suns Sacred Ground and the imminent invasion of foreign life forms, as well as the fact that more and more people have stepped into the Divine Space Realm, we need to consume large amounts of Divine Universe golden stones to increase our strength. Thus, many people have taken away the Divine Universe golden stones, and we don't have many of them left. Great Elder Ling also revealed his difficulties. Understandable. I will think of another way. Qin Yin thought about it and knew that Great Elder Ling would not lie to him. I can lend you 5 billion without charging you any interest. I only hope that you can pay me back as soon as possible. Great Elder Ling knew that Qin Yin was selling elegant smoke. Every once in a while, he would be able to sell a batch, so Qin Yin's ability to repay his debts was very strong. If Qin Yin bought a batch of elegant smoke every month, he would be able to sell it for hundreds of millions of Divine Universe gold stones. In a year, he would be able to pay off 5 billion. Thank you. I'll go get it now. Qin Yin was extremely grateful to Great Elder Ling for lending him so many Divine Universe gold stones at such a crucial time. Don't mention it. We're family. Grand Elder Ling said with a smile. Little Qin, don't forget us when you become awesome. Qin Yin said with a smile. I'm not that kind of person. Originally, he had planned to borrow some from Yushang Yun, but after knowing that the Divine Moon clan had taken away 80 billion, he knew that the Divine Moon clan was definitely short of it, so he gave up on the idea. However, he still contacted Yushang Yun and asked her about her recent situation. After contacting Yushang Yun with the magic mirror, Qin Yin asked, Sister Shang Yun, are you doing well in the ancient Heavenly Moon clan? Very good. Granny Taiwa has taken good care of us. My divine space power has increased very quickly, and now it's already more than 900. I'm already in the second tier of the divine space realm. Yushang Yun said, I just returned from a Nine-Sun Holy Land. I'm now at the Heavenly Moon sect, outside the Nine-Sun Holy Land. How did your divine space power increase so quickly? Qin Yun said in astonishment. He felt that he was already fast enough, but Yushang Yun was even faster. My second-generation bloodline Heavenly Rune evolved to third generation. The upper limit of my divine space power increased by a large amount. Granny Taiwa gave me many divine pills. That's why I could be so fast. Yushang Yun said, Yin, how much is your divine space power now? Almost 400. Qin Yun said, You're also very fast. Did the Imperial Heaven sect give you any help? Yushang Yun is somewhat curious. Nothing much, just gave me battle god technique and some divine pills. Qin Yun is very happy for the Divine Moon clan. After all, they can obtain the great support of the ancient race's ancestors. Yuelon and Yuemei came to my place before. They are also doing very well in the Shao ancient race's Shao heavenly sect. Yushang Yun said, I'm in contact with them frequently. Qin Yun is indeed not in contact with the two sisters. Shao Yuemei also sent him many pictures of delicious food from time to time. Sister Yun, I heard that the Divine Moon Clan took away 80 billion Divine Space Golden Stones. What are they going to do with it? Yun wants to understand the Divine Moon Clan's recent situation. He suddenly felt that the 100 billion he asked the Heavenly Moon Ancient Race was too little. He should have asked for a bit more. Because now it seems that 100 billion is simply too little for the Divine Moon Clan, especially after they enter the Divine Space Realm. Granny Taiwei guided our Divine Moon Clan to plant medicinal ingredients and let us develop the path of pill making. This requires investment in the early stage. We need a large amount of space returning divine pills in the Divine Space Realm. And the 4 divine sons are very suitable for planting space returning divine pills, medicinal ingredients. Yun herself knows pill refining, so she has very good judgment in this aspect. Space returning divine pill is indeed a good thing. If the Divine Moon Clan can master the planting of medicinal ingredients and pill refining method, it is indeed worth investing. Yun also believes that the Divine Moon Clan is very suitable for this matter. Yun, do you need Divine Space Golden Stones? Yun asked. Although she is ice cold towards Yun on the surface, she is very concerned about Yun in her heart. She also has some understanding of Yun. No, Yun said with a smile. I made a fortune not long ago. I'm not lacking for the time being. The Divine Moon Clan's current need for Divine Space Golden Stones is not very big. As long as we plant a batch of medicinal ingredients and refine a batch of space-returning divine pills, we will be able to develop very quickly. If you need Divine Space Golden Stones, just say it. Yun really wants to help Yun. Yun doesn't want to speak. After all, the Divine Moon Clan doesn't have much wealth right now. Do we still need to be so polite? Yun lightly snorted. How much do you need? Just say it, don't dawdle. All right, I need 5 billion. Yun said. My Divine King Heavenly Seal is very strange. It needs to absorb a lot of Divine Space Golden Stones, and this is very helpful to me. No problem. I'll transfer it to you immediately. Yun did not say anything and quickly transferred 5 billion to Yun. Yun looked at the 5 billion on his gold card and felt warm in his heart. He sighed at how good his woman was to him. Take it. I'm going to rest. I just came back from a 9 Suns sacred land. I'm a bit tired, Yun said. After Yun cut off the connection, he immediately rushed to the heaven-reaching Divine City and went to the Ling Mansion to retrieve the Divine Space Golden Stones. Great Elder Ling has been waiting for Yun for a long time. When he found out that Yun transferred 5 billion to Yun, he was not surprised. Yun took the 10 billion Divine Space Golden Stones and immediately returned to the Imperial Heaven Sect. He could not leave for too long. After returning, he immediately placed the 10 billion Divine Space Golden Stones into the Divine King Heavenly Seal. Yun, don't worry. After the Divine King Heavenly Seal evolves, you will benefit endlessly. Taisher said, Old brother Taisher, then when I step into the 2nd level of the Divine Space Realm, how many Divine Space Golden Stones will I need to evolve the Divine King Heavenly Seal again? Yun is quite happy to know that the Divine King Heavenly Seal can continuously evolve. Chapter 2856. Complete version. Update 9 Sun Divine King's newest chapter as soon as possible. Taisher did not immediately answer Yun's question. It is unknown why. Tell me, I can bear it. Yun can see that he needs a lot. 100 billion. Taisher said, after evolving, Divine King Heavenly Seal will be very helpful to your future growth. It is worth evolving. Yun sighed and said, all right. I hope that after I enter 2nd level Divine Space Realm, I will have enough ability to earn 100 billion Divine Universe Golden Stones. At that time, he won't be able to borrow that much and can only rely on himself to accumulate Divine Universe Golden Stones. Divine King Heavenly Seal needs a period of time to evolve. Yun also doesn't know how long it will take. In short, he is not in the mood to increase the upper limit of Divine Space power. Divine King Heavenly Seal cannot be used during evolution. Qin Yun originally wanted to use Divine King Heavenly Seal to release Bloodline Heavenly Rune Flame to refine some Bloodline Heavenly Rune Divine tools, but now he can't do anything. While he's feeling gloomy, good news came from inside the Nine Sun Divine Soul. Ling Daixin successfully passed down her Bloodline Heavenly Rune to Long Tianji, Zi Qingsheng, and Shui Tianzi. They obtained the same Bloodline Heavenly Rune ability as Ling Daixin. They can release a very strong Bloodline Heavenly Rune Flame. Their cultivation is very low now, but the flame they can release is enough for you to refine tools. Taisher said. Qin Yun shook his head and said with sigh, in Divine Space Realm, to advance requires a great amount of Divine Universe Golden Stones. If they follow me, I won't have enough Divine Universe Golden Stones for them to advance. Even he is worried about Divine Universe Golden Stones. If Zi Qingsheng and the others continue to stay in the Nine Sun Divine Soul, their cultivation will definitely stagnate. If they stagnate for too long, their lifespan will not be able to be extended and they will start aging. After letting them out, Qin Yun talked about how Divine Moon Clan obtained the protection of Heavenly Moon Ancient Clan's Granny Taiwe. Then he talked about many things regarding Divine Space Realm cultivation. Little brother Yun, do you want us to go to Heavenly Moon Ancient Clan? Charming and seductive Shui Tianzi leaned on Qin Yun. She is very reluctant to part. Qin Yun caressed her charming face and said with smile, you are only temporarily going there to gather some resources. After you have enough, I will let you come back. I will be reluctant to part with you. He touched Shui Tianzi's face with one hand and pinched Zi Qingqing's face with the other. Ling Daixin did not mind. She listened to Qin Yun's arrangements. Long Tianji was the same. Little brat, don't worry. We will definitely seize the opportunity to increase our strength and come back to you as soon as possible. Zi Qingsheng faintly smiled at Qin Yun. She had known Qin Yun for a very long time and had accompanied him for many years. Now that they were separated, she felt very reluctant. Sister Steam Bun, take good care of them. Qin Yun kissed Zi Qingqing's face and then kissed Shui Tianzi. He also couldn't bear to part with these two beauties. From time to time, he would let them come out to accompany him and play with them. He was also very happy. He wasn't the only one who couldn't bear to part with them. Yang, Mo, and the others all pursed their lips and teared up when they learned that Zi Qingsheng and the others were going to leave for a period of time. Qin Yun contacted Yu Shangyun and said that there are a few women with Bloodline Heavenly Runes. He asked Granny Taiwe if she wants them. Even Taisher couldn't determine which generation their heavenly patterns were from, because the appearance of their heavenly patterns wasn't normal. They can only be appraised by experienced people. After Yu Shangyun contacted Granny Taiwe, she received a very definite answer that she would accept them. Heavenly Moon Sect is also outside Nine Sun Holy Ground. There is some distance between them and Imperial Heaven Sect. Moreover, there is no teleportation formation between them. So Yu Shangyun came to take them to Heavenly Moon Sect. Yun, is your God King Heavenly Seal closely related to your bloodline Heavenly Pattern? I heard from Sweet Star that because of your Divine King Heavenly Seal, Bloodline Heavenly Runes appeared in her body. She can sense that your Divine King Heavenly Seal bestowed Bloodline Heavenly Runes on her. Yu Shangyun saw that both Zi Qingsheng and Shui Tianzi have Bloodline Heavenly Runes. That's why she recalled this matter. Sweet Star is a star god. Her star god divine seat has a connection with the Divine King Heavenly Seal. When she was inside the star dome divine mirror, she indeed sensed the power of the Divine King Heavenly Seal. It is somewhat related, but I can't be sure. In short, I am studying those Bloodline Heavenly Rune boxes. Qin Yun said, oh, that's right. Yun Yue and Princess Luo have their Bloodline Heavenly Runes awakened? They have awakened. There is also Su Xin. Her Bloodline Heavenly Rune is very strong. So Granny Taiwe attaches great importance to us. Yu Shangyun said, she is also on the way. She will rush to Imperial Heaven Sect as soon as possible. There are many people in Divine Moon Clan who have Bloodline Heavenly Rune. Mu Jin's Bloodline Heavenly Rune is from the third generation. The birth of those few Moon Clan and Divine Moon Alliance is related to bloodline heavenly rune boxes. For example, Bright Moon sect Master Wang Hao Yue also has bloodline heavenly rune. Heaven Opening Ancient Race has a method to awaken bloodline heavenly rune and identify which generation it is. After waiting for a whole day, Yu Shangyun arrived at night. Moreover, there are many old grannies accompanying her. These old grannies are very strong. When Qinyan saw them, he is so scared that he doesn't even dare to breathe loudly. Yu Yuan also arrived. After all, Heavenly Moon Sect's experts came to find Qinyan. He naturally came to see the situation. Yu Yuan secretly despised Qinyan. He said earlier that he is not that kind of person, but now there are many great beauties in his room, and they have been taken away by Heavenly Moon Sect. After Zi Qinsheng, Long Tianji, Shui Tianzi, and Ling Daixin were taken away by Yu Shangyun, Yu Yuan said to Qinyan with mischievous smile, "Shao Qin, you are truly capable. You even managed to flirt with Tai Yu Granny's girls. Don't talk nonsense. They are all my friends. None of them have joined Heavenly Moon Sect. I saw that they are girls, so I introduced them to Tai Yu Granny through my friends." Qinyan said, "What? You introduced them to Tai Yu Granny? She is willing to accept those girls?" Yu Yuan said in amazement. Earlier, he felt very doubtful because Zi Qingsheng and the others are very weak. They all have bloodline heavenly rune. Could it be that Tai Yu Granny won't accept them? Qinyan asked, "What?" Yu Yuan placed his hands on Qinyan's shoulder and continuously shook him. He shouted loudly, "You stinky brat, why don't you introduce people with bloodline heavenly rune to our Imperial Heaven sect? What kind of treatment can you give them?" Tai Yu Granny gave them very high conditions. Qinyan curled his lips and said, "We will give them whatever conditions Tai Yu Granny gives them. Don't look down on our you ancient clan. You stinky brat. Why didn't you tell me earlier that they have bloodline heavenly rune? If I knew earlier, I would not have let them go. I should have known that Tai Yu Granny sent a few experts to pick them up. This matter is not so simple." Yu Yuan looks like he lost a piece of flesh. He bitterly sighed. Chapter 2857. Qinyan did not expect that the heaven-opening ancient race would attach so much importance to people with heavenly rune bloodline. This made him see a new path to wealth. "Sect Master, don't be upset. I grew up in God Desolate. I know many friends. Some of them have bloodline heavenly rune. I will introduce them to Imperial Heaven Sect. What do you think?" Qinyan said with smile. Good. Yu Yuan was very sad just a moment ago, but now his face is filled with smile. "Well, it won't be easy for me to rope them in. I'll need some resources to do so." Qinyan scratched his head and said with smile, "How about this? I will bring a person with heavenly rune into Imperial Heaven Sect, and you will give me some Divine Universe golden stones as a reward. How about it?" Yu Yuan knew that Qinyan would not be so kind as to rope in people with heavenly rune for free. But he can understand. After all, everyone is lacking Divine Universe golden stones. The Imperial Gate also lacked people with bloodline heavenly patterns, which was very important to them. If there was a genius among these people with bloodline heavenly patterns, they might be able to help the elders evolve their bloodline heavenly patterns. "If you can rope in one, I will give you 200 million Divine Universe golden stones." Yu Yuan said, 300 million, how about it?" Qinyan said with smile, "I think Heavenly Moon Sect can afford 300 million, right?" Yu Yuan cursed in his heart, but he could only nod and say, "If you can rope in a person with a bloodline heavenly pattern, then as long as you pass my test and confirm that the bloodline heavenly pattern is qualified, we will immediately give you 300 million Divine Universe gold stones." "Oh, that's right. Ling Taiyun also has heavenly rune bloodline." Qinyan suddenly recalled this matter. "Is that so? How come we don't know about it?" "We only know that his father has it," Yu Yuan said in amazement. "Why didn't he say anything?" Qinyan said, "You go find him first. I will go find my friends and ask them who has bloodline heavenly rune inheritance." Yu Yuan immediately went to find Ling Taiyun. Qinyan thought for a bit. then used the teleportation formation to arrive at Ling Tian Divine City. On the way, he asked Great Elder Ling to gather all the youngsters of Ling family. Grand Elder Ling did not know what Qinyan wanted to do, but he still did as he was told. He quickly gathered all the youngsters. The Grand Prime had previously said that the Great Sky Divine Race's members were descendants of the Grand Prime's bloodline heavenly patterns. They all had second and third generation bloodline heavenly patterns in their bodies. And through the godly Monarch heavenly seal, it was possible to awaken the bloodline heavenly pattern in their bodies. Previously, Ling Daixin had obtained the bloodline heavenly pattern through this method. When Qin Yun arrived at the Ling residence, he asked, "Old Ling, how many youths are there in the Ling residence?" "Only slightly more than 100, and they all have the bloodline of our Ling family." Great Elder Ling hurriedly asked, "Little Qin, why did you ask me to gather them? What about them? We'll talk when we see them." Qin Yun lowered his voice and said, "When the time comes, I will need to sign a confidentiality contract with you. You can't leak this matter out. Only then can I tell you what it is." Is it that important?" Grand Elder Ling said in shock. "If everything goes smoothly, I might be able to select a few of them to enter the Imperial Heaven Sect and receive the Imperial Heaven Sect's nurturing." Qin Yun said with a smile, "Old Ling, don't worry. Is that so? That's great. Thank you very much, little Qin." Great Elder Ling is very happy to hear this. They all know that the conditions to enter the Imperial Heaven Sect are rather harsh. Only Ling Taiyun's foundation is pretty good, so he was able to enter smoothly. Great Elder Ling brought the group of youths to a spacious underground secret room and made them sign a confidentiality contract with Qin Yun. Even Great Elder Ling has to sign this contract. All the youths here know Qin Yun's great name because Qin Yun is the person who dared to fight against the Great Divine King, and their Ling family now hates the Great Divine King very much. Qin Yun took out the godly Monarch heavenly seal and said seriously, "My godly Monarch heavenly seal has the ability to awaken the bloodline heavenly rune within your body." After the youths present heard this, their bodies immediately trembled. To possess bloodline heavenly rune, it is usually bestowed by an elder. For example, the Great Heaven Bloodline Heavenly Rune that Qin Yun obtained was taken out by Great Elder Ling Bloodline. Heavenly Rune is very difficult to obtain, especially now that the Ling family has separated from the Great Heaven Divine Race, and the family patriarch is not the clan emperor. They can no longer obtain the Great Heaven Bloodline Heavenly Rune. "Little Qin, is this true?" Great Elder Ling very excitedly said. "I tried on Dai Xin and succeeded. She has now been accepted by the Heavenly Moon sect. I can't guarantee that they will all succeed, so I need to give it a try. This matter can't be known by others, so that they won't snatch my godly Monarch heavenly seal." Great Elder Ling repeatedly nodded his head. He understands why they have to sign a confidentiality contract. "Then let's begin," Great Elder Ling said with smile. "As long as one or two of these youths can awaken bloodline heavenly rune, we will be satisfied." Qin Yun said with smile. "Great Elder Ling, the Imperial Heaven Sect is lacking people who can fuse with bloodline heavenly rune. When I have time in the future, I will help everyone in your Ling family to try." Good. Great Elder Ling knows that having a good relationship with Qin Yun will give him great benefits. Next, Qin Yun began to try and put a seal on those youths. There are both men and women among the Ling family's youths, but there are more men. If they awaken bloodline heavenly rune, they will have a reaction not long after they put a seal on it. And in the following tests, a total of 7 people awakened bloodline heavenly rune. 2 of them are women. Their bloodline heavenly rune attribute is fire, but it is a bit weaker than Ling Daixin's. Maybe it is because Ling Daixin is the daughter of the family emperor. 7 people. Very good. Great Elder Ling is very excited. Qin Yun is also very happy because if he brings these 7 people to the Imperial Heaven Sect, he will get 1 billion Divine Universe Golden Stones. In order to thank Qin Yun, Great Elderling is willing to give Qin Yun 1 billion Divine Universe Golden Stones. Qin Yun originally owed Ling family 5 billion. Now he only has 4 billion left. If he can get the recommendation fee, he will be able to repay more than half of the debt. Qin Yun immediately brought these 7 Ling family youths to the Imperial Heaven sect. Yu Yuan just returned from Ling Taiyun's place and confirmed that Ling Taiyun has 3rd-generation bloodline Heavenly Rune. He is very happy and directly allowed Ling Taiyun to cultivate with him. Ling Taiyun believes that this is all because of Qin Yun's connections that allowed him to cultivate with the sect master. He is very grateful to Qin Yun, this Qi brother-in-law. After Yu Yuan learned that Qin Yun brought 7 youths, he hastily rushed to Qin Yun's residence while holding a tool in his hand. When he entered and saw the 7 young men, without saying a word, he directly used the mirror-like device to look at their bodies. Those 7 Ling family youths all know that this is the sect master of the Imperial Heaven sect. They can also sense how powerful this sect master is. Therefore, they're standing in the living room and don't dare to move. They're very nervous. Chapter 28:58. Qin Yun is just standing at the side. He doesn't know what is going on with the mirror in Yu Yuan's hand. In short, he used the primal beginning divine mirror to confirm that all of them have awakened their bloodline heavenly runes, but he can't confirm which generation they are. This is the bad point of the primal beginning divine mirror. Some of its abilities can't keep up with the times. Yu Yuan is very excited. He kept using the mirror to look at those few Ling family children. Very good. They're all 3rd-generation bloodline heavenly runes. Yu Yuan grinned and said, moreover, there are other kinds of bloodline heavenly runes. Sectmaster, let's talk in private, Qin Yun suddenly said, then signaled Yu Yuan to follow him into the room. Yu Yuan immediately followed him, took out his gold card and said with smile, each person has 300 million. 7 of them will be 1 billion. They're all 3rd-generation bloodline heavenly runes. Sectmaster, can't you give me a bit more? Qin Yun also took out his divine space gold card and said with sigh, I am truly an honest person. If I bring them to Heavenly Moon Sect, I might be able to sell them for 500 million each. Yu Yuan laughed a few times and said, 500 million it is, 7 people, 5 billion, is that okay? He is afraid that Qin Yun will really bring them to Heavenly Moon Sect next time, and their Imperial Heaven Sect will suffer great loss. Yu Yuan also thought it through. The Divine Space Golden Stones are not his. They belong to the entire Yu Ancient clan. As long as he can rope in people with bloodline heavenly runes, the Yu Ancient clan won't say anything. Qin Yun quickly obtained 5 billion Divine Universe Golden Stones. In addition to the 2 billion Divine Universe Golden Stones that Imperial Demon Yao had previously lent him, as well as his own 2 billion Divine Universe Golden Stones, he has a total of 6 billion Divine Universe Golden Stones. With several billion Divine Space Golden Stones, Qin Yun immediately felt a lot more at ease. Although he still owes a lot, he is not in a hurry to pay them back. Sectmaster, don't talk nonsense about this matter, Qin Yun said with mischievous smile. I know. If you meet people with bloodline heavenly runes, sell them to me. No. Introduce them to me, and I will give you a good price. Yu Yuan patted Qin Yun's shoulder with smile and said again, you are truly worthy of being Divine Desolate's young divine king. Your ability is not small. After Qin Yun and Yu Yuan left the room, Yu Yuan immediately took out some space-returning divine pills and distributed them to the few Ling family disciples. Knowing that it was a space-restoring divine pill, the Ling family disciples were all very happy and hurriedly expressed their thanks. After Yu Yuan led the Ling family members away, Qin Yun sat on a chair and held the magic mirror in his hand. He was thinking about how to find people with heavenly runes and introduce them to the Imperial Heaven Gate. 500 million for 3rd-generation Heavenly Rune and 300 million for 2nd-generation Heavenly Rune. If those middle-aged and old men of Ling family awakened Heavenly Rune, they must have awakened 2nd-generation Heavenly Rune. Qin Yun touched his chin and contacted Great Elder Ling. Grand Elder Ling was overjoyed to learn that their Ling family disciples were valued by the Imperial Heaven Gate sect master. Elder Ling, actually you elders can also enter the Imperial Heaven sect. Qin Yun said, but we can't leave. We need to leave some experts to oversee the Ling residents to do business. Grand Elder Ling sighed. He also wants to go, but he can't leave the Ling family. How about this? You gather all the elders who can leave. I will go and see if they have any heavenly rune that can be awakened. Qin Yun said again, all right, all right. Grand Elder Ling naturally hopes that his Ling family members can enter the Imperial Heaven Gate to further their studies. After all, the Imperial Heaven Gate controls a lot of resources. Although they will have to go to Nine Sun Holy Ground to kill enemies in the future, they won't go there often. At least they can become stronger faster in the Imperial Heaven Gate and grasp more cultivation techniques related to Divine Space Realm. As long as they can enter, everyone wants to go. Qin Yun rushed to the Ling residence to try to awaken heavenly rune of a few hundred middle-aged and old men of Ling family. Before using the Divine King Heavenly Seal, Qin Yun made them sign a confidentiality contract. There are a lot of second-generation heavenly rune. After using the Divine King Heavenly Seal, there are about 20 people who can awaken heavenly rune. Qin Yun is very happy in his heart. This is 6 billion Divine Universe golden stones. Of course, he did not immediately send them to the Imperial Heaven Gate. He planned to send them tomorrow. He is afraid that Yu Yuan will suspect why they are all from the Ling family. Although the Ling family is a great heaven divine race, a powerful race with bloodline heavenly rune, suddenly having so many of them is very suspicious. Qin Yun and Grand Elder Ling have a very good relationship. Although the strongest person in the Ling family is the Ling family patriarch, the head of the Ling family is Grand Elder Ling. Grand Elder Ling can govern the entire Ling family. His decisions do not need the approval of the patriarch. Qin Yun introducing the Ling family members to the Imperial Heaven Gate is also reasonable. No, if I introduce them to the Imperial Heaven Gate, they will definitely be suspicious. After all, this transaction involves nearly 10 billion Divine Universe golden stones. Qin Yun is also afraid of attracting more attention. After pondering for a while, he took out the magic mirror to contact Xiao Yuelan. He plans to introduce these 20 people to the Xiao Heaven Gate. Those heaven-opening ancient clan are all overflowing with wealth. Qin Yun is not afraid that they can't afford the price. Xiao Yun, I will ask Grandma Xiao Hong. Wait a moment, it will be very soon. Xiao Yuelan heard that Qin Yun wants to introduce people with bloodline heavenly rune into the Xiao Heaven Gate to earn Divine Universe golden stones. Xiao Yuelan immediately replied to Qin Yun, saying that the Xiao Heaven Gate is willing to accept, but they will only give 200 million as introduction fee. Yuelan, why is your Xiao Heaven Gate so stingy? The ancient Yu clan is willing to pay 300 million as a referral fee. Qin Yun said disdainfully. The Xiao Heaven Gate said that they are too old. Originally, they only wanted to give 100 million. I haggled, and they only gave 200 million. They are indeed very stingy. Xiao Yuelan also complained. Then I can only introduce them to the Imperial Heaven Gate. Qin Yun sighed. Xiao Yun, introducing a second-generation bloodline, heavenly rune costs 300 million? That is very profitable, but how do we find so many people? Xiao Yuelan also wants to earn some money. Yuelan, do you think Xiao ancient clan people can enter the Imperial Heaven Gate? Qin Yun's eyes lit up. He saw another way to earn money. It is not forbidden. Xiao ancient clan people already went to the dragon sect. Xiao Yuelan said with smile. Xiao Yun, you want to sell Xiao ancient clan people to the Imperial Heaven Gate? Stop dreaming. Xiao ancient clan people who have awakened bloodline heavenly rune are already treated like treasures. How can it be your turn to sell them? Qin Yun knows that even among heaven-opening ancient clan people, there are many who cannot awaken bloodline heavenly rune, and maybe his Divine King Heavenly Seal can help them awaken? Yuelan, do you want to earn Divine Universe golden stones with your little husband? Let's join hands, shall we? Qin Yun said with mischievous smile. Of course I wanna. It feels very good to swindle people with you. Xiao Yuelon said with charming smile. Quickly tell me, how do you want to do it? I will cooperate with little husband with all my strength. Qin Yun wants to introduce Ling family's 20 people to the Imperial Heaven Gate first, and see Yuan's reaction. Then he will ask Yuan how many bloodline heavenly rune people his ancient clan can accept. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.